Chapter 678. In the blink of an eye, the decisive battle of the 900 million world layers took a turn for the worse. The Lord of True Demons suddenly left with his army. The combatants, alliances, empires, organizations of the 900 million world layers were all frozen in place. They left? Someone asked in disbelief. It should be, or is it another trap? Someone said uncertainly. Everyone couldn't help but look at Meow. After this battle, everyone became aware of how terrifying Meow's attainments in spatial techniques were. Meow carefully sensed for a moment, then loudly declared, "The portal has disappeared, the true demons have indeed returned to the fallen zones." There was a stir among the people. This was too abnormal. They were clearly going to fight to the death. The Lord of True Demons was about to descend as well. But why did the true demons retreat? The leaders of the various alliances and forces fell into deep thought. Suddenly, a female voice sounded. "The spirit of the holy tree," Lady Tethys replied. "I know what's going on, because their goal is a bull. They want to release Tree's world to allow the Demon King order to spread to the surrounding world layers, but the Demon King's order has already been destroyed. The true demons can no longer achieve their goal, so they can only retreat." The hearts of the crowd shook, and they couldn't help but let out a wave of clamorous noise. Who destroyed the Demon King order and ended everything? Someone couldn't help but ask. Frost of the Cold Night, Ilya. So it was her. Everyone came to a realization. Could it be that she was the one who gave us these treasures just now? Someone else asked. Of course not. Other than the Bramble Bird royal family, no one can command the Saint Bramble Tree. The one who bestowed the treasure should be the new Bramble Bird Empress, Tethys replied. When she finished speaking, a miraculous scene appeared. All the weapons, armors, treasures left their control and quickly flew towards the Saint Bramble Tree. Oh! Everyone on the battlefield couldn't help but sigh regretfully. However, everyone was well aware that they could not be reluctant to part with these treasures. Although the Saint Bramble Tree had never actively attacked living beings, if you dared to provoke it, alright, actually, being able to use the treasures of the Bramble Bird Kingdom is already quite satisfying. Gradually, the powerhouses got rid of the troubles brought about by this small matter. They all cheered. "We won! The Demon King order has returned to the fallen zones. Did you see the dejected faces of those true demons? Ha! A great victory! A bull." Lola chanted an incantation and retracted the curtain of light on the battlefield. Gu Qingshan sighed. "I don't think this is called the will of the Queen. It should be called the blessing of the Queen." This was a type of long-range support that transcended the limits of space. It could directly restore a person's condition, increase the power of their equipment, and increase their combat ability. In truth, the one who truly put in the most effort during this entire process was the Saint Bramble Tree. But there was nothing that could be done about it. In this entire world, apart from Lola, who else could gain the Holy Tree's favor? In a large-scale war, this was a very useful talent. Lola said, "If it were you, I wouldn't take back the treasure, but these people are not related to me, I can't just give the kingdom's treasure to them." Gu Qingshan's heart skipped a beat. "Lola, what is it? After the war is over, you can reward and commend the combatants who contributed greatly, will they accept it?" Lola was a bit hesitant. "Of course," Gu Qingshan smiled. "This will greatly increase your reputation." Ilya thought for a bit. "The only problem is that the kingdom might have to give up a few good things." Lola slapped the table and declared, "Then it's decided." "Yes, Your Majesty," the Bramble Birds replied in unison. Ilya immediately walked out of the green room and said, "Then I'll go prepare the place for the Empress' commendation." One of the guards suggested, "Shouldn't we find a place to lock Triest up first?" "That's fine, I'll go with you first," Ilya said. They then escorted Triest out of the green room. At this point, only Gu Qingshan and Lola were left in the green room. Lola sat on the large, comfortable sofa without saying a word. Gu Qingshan also said nothing. He waited for a few moments, then took out another bottle of liquor from the ice bucket. Bam! The cork was popped. The third bottle. Lola glared at him. Because we can celebrate now, Gu Qingshan smiled. Celebrate? Yes, according to Trist's memories, the time has come. The Lord of True Demons will once again contact Trist's world. When he finds out that revolution has been destroyed, he will definitely make a wise decision. Lola was a bit surprised and asked, "That means the true demons will retreat? And the war will also end." Gu Qingshan poured herself a glass of liquor and slowly drank it. Who would have thought the war of the 900 million world layers would end just like that? Lola sighed. Isn't that a good thing? Gu Qingshan smiled. The Demon King order was defeated, the war and casualties were prevented. That's true. Right, I need to ask you something, Gu Qingshan said. Go ahead, Lola said. In the Fallen Zones, what stage has the Demon King order evolved to? I think it's a stage higher than Revolution. I can't remember what it's called exactly. Is it really that strong? Of course, all true demons carry that main order. The true demons are much stronger than normal demon lord weapons. They're extremely strong. Gu Qingshan silently nodded. Seems like now isn't a good time to fight against the Demon King order. It's too strong. I need to quickly become stronger as well. He looked at the war god Ui and was about to take a look at the war god quest. But Lola came closer and spoke mysteriously. Gu Qingshan, I have a secret. Gu Qingshan had no choice but to ignore the war god quest for now and asked, What secret? Lola looked around, confirming that there was no one else in the green room and that the door was closed. She replied, I've awakened 3 talents. I've heard you mention them before. The first talent is Infinite World Shelter. The second is Will of the Empress. Can you guess what the third one is? I don't know, but I suggest that you don't reveal it. It's better to keep a trump card for yourself, Gu Qingshan seriously suggested. Lola dejectedly replied, This talent isn't really a trump card. Then don't tell me, just keep it to yourself. I'm telling you, it's fine. Saying so, Lola reached her hand out and grabbed the void of space. Following her movement, her hand and half of her arm disappeared into the void of space, as if it had gone to another dimension. What's going on? Where's your hand? Gu Qingshan was surprised. It's fine, I was just looking for something, Lola replied. Looking for something? Gu Qingshan took a closer look. Lola's movement really did seem like she was reaching her hand into some sort of container, searching for something. From the looks of it, it looked like she was drawing a prize. A few moments later, Lola's eyes lit up. I found it, she cheered. She then pulled her hand back from the void of space. She was holding a small purple shield in her hand. Lola presented the shield to Gu Qingshan like it was a treasure and said, Look, this is my new ability. Gu Qingshan held the purple shield in his hand and looked at it uncertainly. The shield itself was quite intricate and not particularly heavy. The surface of the shield was giving off strands of power that Gu Qingshan couldn't understand. Lines of glowing text appeared on the war god UI. Item name, Shield of the Magus Alliance's General Grade. Epic Unique Power. By borrowing the power of ether, this shield can block the majority of magic attacks, war god skills. This shield was created for the Magus Alliance's General Revolving Door. It does not contain any skills that can be learned. Doomsday Chronicles Event Description. This shield is the brand new Magus Alliance's General Shield. Gu Qingshan held the shield and blanked out for a while. This shield is good, but it really isn't a top-notch piece of equipment. Taking out a shield at all times, is this your third ability? He asked. Idiot, it's not, Lola replied. She seemed to be a bit angry as she reached her hand into the void of space again and searched around. A few moments later, Lola found something else and quickly pulled her hand back. She was holding a blade in her hand. Tossing the blade to Gu Qingshan, Lola angrily said, Take a look again. Gu Qingshan caught the blade and looked at it again. This was a legendary blade, a cold weapon that could only be found by chance within the 900 million world layers. What a great item! Gu Qingshan praised. I understand now, your third ability allows you to take items from the kingdom's treasury whenever you want, correct? No, Lola replied. No. Gu Qingshan was a bit confused. If that's not the case, where did this blade and shield come from? This ability of mine is called the Wandering Treasure Collector, Lola reminded her. Wandering Treasure Collector? Collector? Gu Qingshan thought for a bit and exclaimed, could it be? Seeing that he understood, Lola pridefully explained, that's right, any lost, or unclaimed treasure within the 900 million world layers would be exposed to this ability. Whenever I use this ability, I'll be able to find any unclaimed treasure from the void of space at will. Gu Qingshan carefully thought for a bit and asked, such a powerful ability must come with a heavy price, right? Ah, that's indeed the case. What price? Gu Qingshan became a bit nervous. Chapter 679. Time passed. Time quickly passed. The entirety of Abul was in a state of celebration. The victorious experts of the various worlds raised their arms high and let out deafening cheers. Of course, there were also a few combatants who were more reserved, who chose to keep their mouths shut and simply smiled. But no matter who they were all immersed in great joy. This was the biggest victory in the last 1,000 years. This battle greatly boosted everyone's confidence. Even those who were wavering in the middle were muttering about the Demon King Order's great defeat. The lively Abul, the joyous Abul, Abul brimming with the joy of victory. Today, this place has become a dreamlike place. Even after a few dozen years, a few hundred years, or even a few thousand years. Abul will also symbolize the battle between the combatants of the infinite worlds and the Demon King Order. A milestone of victory for all living beings. It will forever be engraved in the memories of everyone who experienced it. Deep inside Abul Grand Hotel, the Royal Green Room, all the noise and excitement were isolated outside. It was completely silent. Ilya pushed the door open and came in. Your Majesty, we are currently choosing the treasures for the combatants of the infinite worlds. Would you like to take a look? She asked. No need, you understand the situation of those combatants better than I do. You can make the decision, Lola replied. Ilya nodded and left. The green room returned to silence. Gu Qingshan finished his glass of wine and stood up. I have to go, he said. Right now? Lola asked. Yes, if someone sees me staying here, it'll cause a lot of suspicion and trouble. What do you plan to do after this? I'll go back to my own world to take a look. There's still a war going on there. There's also a lot of things to do, cultivation, repairing my sword, meeting some old friends, and my girlfriend. I wonder how she's doing right now. In short, there's a lot of things waiting for me to do. Listening to him seriously, Lola felt a bit disappointed. You really don't want the reputation of killing the Demon King Order? She asked. Of course, at my age, great fame will have the opposite effect on everything. Gu Qingshan seemed to have thought of something inside. My strength is still too weak. If there is nothing else, I will go into seclusion for a period of time to improve my cultivation. Lola looked at him and suddenly said, Gu Qingshan. What? Don't you think it's hard to live like this? Lola asked softly, a little confused. Gu Qingshan was startled for a moment before she smiled and said, There is no one in this world who does not suffer. Everyone has their own difficult moments. Lola was puzzled. But I have a lot of noble ladies from the Empire and the Alliance around me. After they come of age, their lives are so relaxed. They don't have to worry about anything. They just need to enjoy themselves every day. Gu Qingshan gradually became serious. He could see that Lola was at the crossroads of making a decision. My answer will help her make one of the most important decisions in her life, Gu Qingshan replied. You will have to ask yourself this. Everyone has to decide for themselves which path they want to walk, he continued. If you are willing to live like them, you will be able to enjoy all the glory and wealth in the world. No one will be able to surpass you. If you don't want to walk that path and instead choose to live like me, you will face many challenges. Your life will also be very difficult. But there is a single benefit to it. What benefit? Lola asked. No one will be able to control you, even in times of danger. Everything will be decided by you. You will continue to grow stronger, you will understand the mysteries of life and the world, you will have the power to protect the people you care about, to protect everything you care about, you will become the war god of your own destiny. Gu Qingshan reached her hand out and lightly stroked Lola's head. Lola asked, Do you think of yourself as a god? When it comes to my destiny and my dreams, yes, I am their god. Gu Qingshan, do you want me to choose this path? No, Lola, my opinion isn't important. Everyone has to make their own decisions on the path they want to walk. Think clearly, make up your mind, and don't regret it. This is what an adult must do. Lola fell silent. A while later, she sighed and said in relief, So after becoming an adult, life is always going to be this difficult. Gu Qingshan chuckled. Because this conversation had already happened between the two of them before. At the time, they went through many obstacles to reach the icy peak of the old gods, where they saw the divine seed's corpse through the ice. Even thinking about it now, that scene was both eerie and terrifying. But as a 7-year-old girl, Lola had to overcome her fear of heights, overcome her fear of monsters, and come with me to the top of the mountain to face the demonized. At the time, Lola had asked a similar question. But today, she seemed to be speaking with certainty. She had made her choice. Gu Qingshan couldn't help but recall everything that had happened recently. Indeed, it really wasn't easy for them to reach this point. He sighed in his mind. Lola also seemed to recall the scenes of the two of them getting along. The first time the two of them met, Gu Qingshan sprayed his face full of alcohol. And then they met. Entering Trist's world, going through all sorts of desperate situations and difficulties, exploring the world's secrets step by step, doing everything in their power to finally kill 200 million demonized, 100,000 ghosts, and destroy the Demon King order. Lola's eyes slowly became red. These scenes of them fighting together were so close that they were almost within reach, as if she only needed to turn around and she could run right into them. But now, Gu Qingshan was about to leave. She couldn't leave him here. He had a lot of things to do. He had his own thoughts and will. I don't know how to say goodbye to you. There are so many things I want to say. Lola lowered her head and softly said. Gu Qingshan smiled. It's fine, it's not like I'm leaving the 900 million world layers. I'll be right outside in the main hall, probably standing together with Bali and Miao, waiting for your majesty. At this point, Ilya opened the door and came in. Your majesty, everything has been prepared. It will begin in 1 hour, she said. Several female guards followed behind her, each holding a national robe, a crown, a scepter, a pair of high heels, as well as a lot of accessories. Gu Qingshan didn't say anything else. He looked at Lola and was about to leave. Ah! Lola instinctively called out to him in a low voice, then closed her mouth again. For some reason, Gu Qingshan was also a bit reluctant. Those days when they fought side by side, I can't help but remember them for the rest of my life. Looking at this little girl, Gu Qingshan felt like she was looking at herself from all those years ago. Logically speaking, at Lola's age, she should be staying with her parents and enjoying life. But now, she was an orphan without any family. She was now the empress, about to take charge of the affairs of her country. In the years to come, she would face many difficulties she had never faced before. She would have to face all of them by herself. But no one could help her. A ruler has always been alone. Everything had to be decided by herself. This was the path of growth. Gu Qingshan maintained his smile and muttered, Lola, I'll be leaving first, I'll see you in the main hall. He waved to Lola and quickly left the green room. Lola didn't say anything else. The female guards slowly walked up and began to help Lola with her makeup. There's only 1 hour left, so I'm in a bit of a rush. A few moments later, one of the female guards whispered. Chapter 680. Lord of Blood was sitting next to the fountain of a Bowl hotel. He threw some scraps of food into the water and fed them to the fishes inside. Then, I'll be leaving first. He flicked the scraps off his hand and told everyone else. Meow reminded him. You're leaving right now? Queen Thorns is about to hand out the rewards and commendations for everyone, don't you want it? That's nothing but a way to buy people's hearts, Lord of Blood shook his head. I heard that this generation's queen has only just come of age. Do people like me have to go in and greet a little girl? He suddenly thought of something and turned to stare at Iron Fist Bali. What are you looking at? Iron Fist Bali felt uncomfortable being stared at like that. Lord of Blood said with an inexplicable tone, Ah, I forgot, you do need something to repay your debt. Pitiful Bali, he's so poor that he's even mortgaging his own super-dimensional world. Bali clenched his fist. Countless voices resounded in his ears. All the combatants around him were sending their voices to him at the same time. Beat him up. How about we all beat him up right now? Bali, you go, I'll definitely follow. This guy deserves to be beaten up, Bali. Give the signal, we'll all go together. Blood Sea needs to be taught a lesson. If we don't beat him up now, we won't get another chance like this in the future, Boss Bali. Bali pondered for a second. He finally smiled bitterly and said, I say, Blood Sea, can't you at least try to make people like you a bit? As soon as he said that, all the combatants around him sighed. Seems like there's no way to fight anymore. Another combatant shook his head. Bali, don't be so naive. Even if the apocalypse comes, Blood Sea would still be the same. I'm sorry, but aren't you mistaken about something? Lord of Blood spoke with a serious expression. Why do I have to make you like me? Please remember, I, the Blood Sea, am a man with principles. While he was talking, a bramble bird guard quickly walked over and handed him a list of names. What is this? The Lord of Blood asked curiously. The item on page 91 is a treasure that the Empress has bestowed upon you. Please take a look and see if you have any objections, the Bramble Bird Guard respectfully said. Page 91. The Lord of Blood couldn't help but flip it open and take a glance. A beam of light appeared on the paper, showing the image of a card. This was a strange card. The edge of the card was boiling blood, and the back was the scarlet dark abyss. On the front of the card there was a portrait of a beauty. She was a stunning beauty. Her beauty had reached the pinnacle. She closed her eyes, as if nothing in the world was worth a glance. Even so, she exuded an endless charm from head to toe. If you didn't see this card with your own eyes, no one would believe that a card could stir up such emotions. Lord Bloodcloak looked at the card on the screen and went silent for a moment. That's right, I know her, he muttered to himself in a low voice, and even his voice became a little hoarse from excitement. This was one of the 3 most mysterious cards in the Blood Sea deck. Once this card is activated, all the cards that are used up in battle will once again reform from the Blood Sea and return to the card user's hand. Having this card is the same as fighting with 2 sets of cards at once. The Lord of Blood sighed and returned the list to the Thorn Guard. Very well, I've seen it. Do you have any objections? The Thorn Guard asked. I do, the Lord of Blood replied. Then that's good, sorry for disturbing you, I'll be leaving first. The Bramble Bird Guard bowed and left. He followed the order on the list and went to find the next top-level combatant. The Lord of Blood stood still, stunned. Bali, I have a question, he said. What is it? Bali asked. What do you think of the ability Queen of Thorns used to distribute resources to everyone on the battlefield just now? The Lord of Blood asked. Bali didn't expect the Lord of Blood to ask about this, so he hesitantly answered. It's a very powerful ability. If it was used in a war, it would play a very important role. The Lord of Blood nodded. Indeed, I've never seen such an ability before. It seems that even though she's only a little girl, she's still quite strong, he muttered in a low voice. Speaking of which, Ilya of the Frost of the Cold Night was able to kill the Demon King Order. She's quite the character, worth me meeting. While saying so, the Lord of Blood headed towards the audience hall. This was a temporary audience hall that was made using the Abul Hotel's main lobby, where Lola would be rewarding the heroes who participated in the war. Bali and the people around him exchanged glances. What's going on? Didn't he say he was going to leave? Bali was surprised. Meow was also surprised. But he's already heading towards the audience hall, apparently about to be received by Queen of Thorns. The surrounding experts were also a little surprised. Suddenly, someone muttered, "I think the Queen's reward must be quite something." The combatants all went silent. Indeed, that must be it. Thinking back to Lord Bloodcloak's attitude from before, then looking at his current actions, everyone's mind was clear. That shameless slut, they silently thought to themselves. Meow suddenly noticed something and looked towards a certain direction. Gu Qingshan was slowly walking towards them. Gu Qingshan, Lady Tethys told me about you. It's a good thing you're still safe and sound. Meow happily spoke. Gu Qingshan smiled. I've been hiding in a bowl the entire time. What could possibly happen to me? I did hear that you guys fought a dangerous war. Bali looked at Gu Qingshan from top to bottom, making sure he was fine before smiling. It's fine, I was afraid that I'd lose someone who just joined the club. He patted Gu Qingshan's shoulder and introduced Gu Qingshan to his friends one by one. Gu Qingshan's cultivation wasn't too high, and he was still very young. For a cultivator to be able to become a projection realm cultivator at such a young age, no matter how picky they were, they wouldn't be able to find anything wrong with him. Furthermore, Gu Qingshan was recognized by both Bali and Meow, which made him even more valuable. The combatants all smiled and greeted him. They've been through so many things in the world and met countless people, so the more they talked, the more they admired this young man. Ah, Bali, I'm sorry, I probably didn't get anything from the Bramblebird's call this time to repay the club's debt, Gu Qingshan said. It's fine, I'm fully healed now. If I want to go out and get something to eat, I won't be in such a sorry state like before. Bali patted his chest and said. It's not your fault, no one expected things to turn out like this, Meow also softly said. The club's debt, Gu Qingshan hesitantly said. Bali pointed at the audience hall and smiled. Take a guess, what will the Empress reward me with later? Gu Qingshan was surprised. I remember now, you must have also seen the list. What kind of treasure is written on it? There's no treasure, only a single line. All debts of the Justice Fist Club shall be paid by the Bramblebird royal family. That's right. Now we don't owe anything anymore. Meow happily clapped her hands. That's a good thing. Gu Qingshan also sighed in relief, silently praising Ilya for being so thoughtful. He then looked at Meow and curiously asked, What did the Empress reward you with? A ring that can help me precisely use spatial power, in other words. That's right, from now on, wherever you want to go, just leave it to me, Meow pridefully said. The time for the audience with the Empress quickly came. Not everyone was allowed to enter the audience hall. Thorngard began to read out the names. Only the Lord-class combatants, the leaders of the major organizations, were allowed to enter the hall to receive their rewards from Empress Thorns one by one. The Bramblebird race was the only race in the Mystic Zones willing to communicate with the outside world. They had countless treasures as well as the revered Saint Brambletree, so everyone gave them face. The combatants of the 900 million world layers gathered outside the audience hall, waiting for their rewards. Some of them were confused and didn't understand. But as soon as they read through the list of rewards, they immediately understood what the Bramblebird Kingdom was, and what the Queen of Thorns was. This was the first time they had ever come into contact with the Bramblebird Kingdom, so everything that happened today would leave a deep mark in their memories. For the rest of their lives, they would remember that there was a Bramblebird Kingdom in the Mystic Zones that they absolutely couldn't afford to offend. From this moment onwards, Queen of Thorns Lola stepped onto the highest stage of the 900 million world layers. As time passed, more and more combatants entered the audience hall. Justice Fist Club, Bali, Meow, Thorngard called out. Chapter 681. A Bull. As soon as Trieste was captured, the first thing Ilya did was summon the kingdom's army. The entire Bramble Bird Kingdom was mobilized to take full control of this famous holiday inn. And now, a bull was surrounded by an impenetrable defense. The Empress audience ceremony was being held. Gu Qingshan released her inner sight to follow Bali and Miao into the Grand Hall. Due to the restrictions of the venue, only Lord-class combatants and leaders were allowed to enter the Grand Hall. But the Bramble Bird race didn't restrict anyone from using any method to view the situation inside the Grand Hall. In fact, many worlds within the 900 million world layers were watching the Empress Awards ceremony in real time. The Mystic Zones. A miraculous place. Not only were people curious about this place, but they also wanted to see what kind of treasures Queen of Thorns had bestowed upon them. Empress Lola held a scepter in her hand as she sat on her throne, appearing both dignified and elegant. The combatants whose names were called out would come in front of Lola to receive her praise and praise. If the two sides didn't have much contact with each other, the audience only needed to slightly bow. But if they had frequent contact with each other and knew Lola, those combatants would voluntarily kneel down on one knee to greet Lola. The entire ceremony was quick and orderly. Lola's performance was impeccable. She was always able to face each combatant and say the appropriate and polite words, even though Ilya might have been reminding her behind the scenes. But as an empress, who wouldn't be the same? When all the awards were given, Ilya came out. She told the whole story in front of everyone. How Trieste betrayed the royal family and tried to assassinate the king. How Lola hid. How she entered Trieste's world and found that kindling was spreading. In the end, she used some sort of artifact to set up an ambush and killed 200 million demonized. Without a carrier, kindling was destroyed. Indeed, Ilya killed 200 million demonized, but no one said anything about it. When a person chooses to embrace the Demon King order, they are destined to stand against the 900 million world layers. According to past history, the demonized relied on slaughtering living beings of various worlds to grow very quickly, but they didn't follow any of the rules of the 900 million world layers, which was a headache to deal with. They were the root cause of overthrowing the rule of the various forces. No faction or expert would sympathize with someone who chose to become a demon. Those who weren't demonized and tried their best to resist the temptation of the kindling, only to be killed by the demonized in the end, would be counted by Ilya using some sort of soul-summoning spell. For these people, the Bramble Bird Kingdom will provide a generous pension to ensure that the family members of the deceased can live a carefree life. Everything was settled. Trieste and her accomplices were brought in. Ilya walked to the throne and knelt on the ground. "Your Majesty, please give me your orders." Lola nodded. When she received the experts, she maintained an elegant and polite smile. But at this moment she was as cold as ice. All of Trieste's accomplices, execute them. Yes, following the Empress order, the Thorn Guard members who sided with Trieste and helped her capture Lola were all beheaded on the spot. Corpses fell one after another. "Your Majesty, only Trieste is left," Ilya reported. "Carry out the execution," Laura spat out 2 words. "Yes," Ilya replied. From the void of space, the Saint Bramble Tree's leaves slowly manifested. Under Trieste's desperate screams, countless thin vines pierced into her from the top of her head. These vines gradually wandered, filled, and covered her entire body, and all kinds of flowers bloomed on the surface of her body. This was an inhumane pain. Those who received this kind of punishment would be tortured both physically and spiritually. They would be immersed in endless pain every minute and every second, unable to even think or think. Every observer of the 900 million world layers felt a chill in their hearts, because the one who inflicted this punishment was the Saint Bramble Tree. No one in the 900 million world layers could go against this giant tree. And no one could go against this punishment. While everyone was staring at Trieste's torture, the Bramble Bird Empress said something that made everyone's hearts tremble. "Ilya, remember this well, this punishment cannot be cancelled for the next 1,000 years. "Yes," Ilya replied, What about after 1,000 years? After 1,000 years, you will change to another punishment, as you wish, your majesty. At that moment, the entire 900 million world layers went completely silent. Seeing Trieste's current pitiful state, the people who suffered losses and injuries due to Trieste's schemes had nothing to say. Firstly, it was a great way to vent their anger. Secondly, they were afraid. Truly afraid. Or to be tortured for 1,000 years without being allowed to die, and to continue being tortured by another punishment. Who wouldn't be afraid of such an outcome? From this moment onwards, the name of Queen of Thorns began to spread throughout the 900 million world layers in both the generous and cold-blooded versions. After Trieste was dealt with, Queen of Thorns' audience ended. Under the watchful eyes of countless people, Empress Lola was escorted out of the hall by the Bramble Bird officials, nobles, and guards. For the Bramble Bird race, this matter was already over. They would be escorting their Empress back to the Mystic Zones on the Bramble Bird ship. For every participant of the war had ended in victory. The entirety of a bull was in a state of celebration. In the noisy and lively square, Gu Qingshan watched as the endless fleet of ships flew past a bull's sky, slowly disappearing into the distant space. That was the Bramble Bird fleet, and Lola was on it. It wasn't until she couldn't see anything anymore that Gu Qingshan pulled her gaze back. He sighed. From now on, she will be moving forward alone. And before I become stronger, I won't be able to help her with anything else. Hey, Gu Qingshan, someone greeted her from behind. Gu Qingshan turned to see that it was Miao. As soon as she and Bali left the audience hall, they went straight to find Gu Qingshan. Why aren't you partying with the others? I thought you were going to drink, Miao asked. I'm not in the mood for that right now. Are we going to stay here or go back now? Gu Qingshan asked. There's an urgent matter that requires us to return to the club right away, Bali said. An urgent matter? Gu Qingshan was surprised. Now that the war is over, everything has come to an end, what kind of urgent matter could there be? That's right, it's a rather urgent matter. Saying so, Bali exchanged glances with Miao and smiled mysteriously at the same time. We're leaving right now. Kitty waved the ring on her hand in front of Gu Qingshan like she was showing off. I can take you back right now. She held Bali's hand in one hand and Gu Qingshan's hand in the other, and chanted an incantation. Sha! The three of them disappeared from a bull. The super-dimensional world. The Justice Iron Fist Club. Three figures appeared from mid-air and landed on the ground. Gu Qingshan stood still and looked around. The entire world was silent. There wasn't a single person in the club, it was completely empty. His inner sight entered the club, then scanned the surroundings, but found nothing. What did we come back for? Gu Qingshan couldn't help but ask. Bali carefully took out a small, intricate box. Chapter 682. What is it? Gu Qingshan curiously asked. Bali replied. The guard said that it was a small extra gift from the Empress to all members of the club and told me to take a look after returning to the club. You believe that guard? Do you know him? I don't. The Bramble Bird Kingdom wouldn't resort to tricks like this, not to mention for Miao and I. There's no need for them to do so. Miao couldn't help but urge him. Hurry up and open it, I want to know what it is. All right, Bali opened the box. As soon as the box was opened, a blinding light shot out from the box all the way to the sky. The light turned into strings of ever-changing runes in the sky. These runes seemed to be confirming something. After a few moments of changing, they finally stop. What is this? Gu Qingshan asked. Miao's expression turned grim and said, This is the Justice Iron Fist Club's space-time coordinate. With this coordinate, even if they don't know us, they can still come and visit us. But the superdimensional passage is in your hands. As long as you don't let them in, they can only wait outside, Gu Qingshan said. That's true, but this uninvited method is a bit irritating. Miao's ears twitched a bit annoyed. Bali's expression didn't look too good either. They said it was a gift, but it turned out to be a kind of location. From a certain point of view, this was already deceiving him. Bali doubtfully asked. Even if they obtained our world's coordinates, without Meow and I's permission, they wouldn't be able to enter. So I don't understand, what's the point of the bramble bird race deceiving me like this? Gu Shan thought for a bit and said, perhaps Trieste still has accomplices? The three of them exchanged glances, feeling the severity of the situation. At this point, Meow's expression changed a bit and said, someone has arrived near our superdimensional world and is requesting to enter. She closed her eyes and muttered, come, let me see, just who would be so daring? Bali also closed his eyes and began to sense space. I also want to see what they're up to. His tone became murderous. Although Bali didn't know any spatial spells, he was still the master of this superdimensional world, so he could directly sense the connection and changes between the outside world and the superdimensional world. The brother and sister closed their eyes. In just a breath of time, they understood the situation outside. Bali had weathered too many storms, and Meow was not a person without experience, but at this moment, both of them were shocked and shocked. They both opened their eyes. Brother, what should we do? Meow asked. It doesn't look like they're messing with us. Let them pass, Bali said with a frown. Okay, Meow said. She began to chant the incantation to open the superdimensional passage and let him in. Seeing their reactions, Gu Shan couldn't help but feel confused. He asked, what happened? Bali looked up. Take a look, they're here. Gu Shan looked up. A large ship slowly appeared in the starry sky. This ship looks very familiar. That's right, this is Queen of Thorns' ship. A few moments later, sure enough, Gu Shan saw Lola and Ilya peeking their heads out from the ship. Lola even smiled at him. Meow quickly explained to Gu Shan. The entire bramble bird fleet is waiting outside the superdimensional passage. Their empress has requested to enter, and she only asked for this ship to enter, so I don't think there's any danger. That's right, the bramble bird race won't do anything to us. They've never done anything to a superdimensional world before. Bali's frown slowly loosened and said, if the empress is here in person, it must be something important. Now that I think about it, the coordinates from before were only to save time, they weren't purposely trying to deceive me. With that in mind, Bali and Meow's expressions became a lot better. How should we greet them? Bali asked. It's fine, they came so suddenly that we didn't prepare anything, so it's fine, Meow replied. While they were talking, the ship had already landed. Queen of Thorns Lola, wearing a crown and a luxurious national robe with a scepter in hand, flew down from the ship. Behind her, Frost of the Cold Night and a dozen guards followed closely. They flew towards the three people in the club. Ilya, go explain everything to Iron Fist. Bali and Meow, Lola ordered. Yes, Ilya stepped forward, led Bali and Meow to the side, and began to explain everything in detail. Lola walked in front of Gu Shan and looked up at him. Gu Shan looked at her and smiled. We agreed to keep it a secret, he whispered. Of course, I've only brought the dozen or so guards who witnessed the entire process in that world. Laura pointed behind her. The dozen guards looked at Gu Shan and smiled kindly. Gu Shan also smiled and greeted them. After going through so many battles together, they were a bit familiar with each other. Lola continued. Bali and Meow are both trustworthy people, so telling them about this isn't a big deal, is it? Gu Shan looked at Bali and Meow. Following Ilya's explanation, their expressions became more and more shocked, occasionally glancing at Gu Shan. Alright, there really isn't much to say about them, Gu Shan agreed. At this point, they stopped talking. The two of them went silent. I seriously thought about it, Lola broke the silence and said. In truth, I chose the second path. This path is extremely arduous. I need to constantly challenge myself, constantly grow and become stronger. Only then would I be able to take control of my own fate. Am I right? Lola carefully asked. Yes, that is what I believe, Gu Shan nodded. Now that I've chosen my path, Lola took a deep breath and loudly declared. That is why my fate will be decided by myself. Once I've decided to do something, no one can stop me. I am the Bramble Bird Empress. As long as I have a wish, I will fulfill it without hesitation, only then will I not let down all of my hardships and efforts. She gathered her courage and said everything she wanted to say in one breath. Gu Qingshan looked at her and didn't say anything. Lola waited for a while, but when Gu Qingshan didn't respond, she couldn't help but feel a bit disappointed. Gu Qingshan, didn't I say it well? Can't you at least give me a reaction? Really, I had to think about these words for a long time before I could confirm them. I even repeated them in my mind twice before I came here. The little girl muttered dejectedly. As Gu Qingshan silently listened, the smile on his face grew wider. Well said. You have the demeanor of a queen, he said with a smile. Do you really think so? That's right, I don't usually lie. Laura became happy and said, Haha, I knew my way of thinking was correct. She gave a crystal ball to Gu Qingshan. Gu Qingshan's gaze fell onto the crystal ball. He recognized it. This was Trist's collection world. At this time, this world had once again been sealed and turned into a crystal ball. But unlike before, there were no more demonized people here, no more Demon King order. The icy layer of wind and snow. The deep blue ocean layer. The lost underground world of the old gods. This was a strange and precious world, the former residence of the old gods. There might still be other secrets that haven't been discovered yet. I remember you promised that Tianma that you would give this world to her, Lola said. HM? That does seem to be the case. You big liar, take it, don't make her sad, Gu Qingshan explained. Actually, I was thinking of other ways to repay her, but if you give me this world, that would solve one of my problems. Of course I would give it to you. You've saved me so many times. Is this Queen of Thorns' life not even comparable to a world? The crystal ball was shoved into Gu Qingshan's hand. At this point, Lola's expression became even more solemn. I once promised, if you can help me win against the Demon King order, help me defeat Trist, help me take revenge, I will make you a Duke of the Bramble Bird Kingdom. She took out a bright green badge and lightly held it in her hand. I know, for any outsider to become a Duke of the Bramble Bird Kingdom, it would be a huge event that would shake the entire 900 million world layers. I also know that you don't like too much fame right now. I just want to make a promise with you. Gu Qingshan, one day, when you feel that you won't be burdened by fame, would you be willing to become a Duke of the Bramble Bird Kingdom? Seemingly afraid that Gu Qingshan would refuse, Lola hurriedly added, Don't worry, before you personally admit this, everyone on my side who knows about it will keep it a secret. Gu Qingshan smiled. It must have been hard on you to consider everything so thoroughly, then. Lola looked at him and hesitantly said. Gu Qingshan walked up to Lola and slowly knelt down on one knee. Lola instantly smiled. This is so similar to when I begged him to lead me into battle on the plains. At the time, he also knelt down on one knee and stood up to face the enemy. In a desperate situation, he gave me too much hope and brought me out of the abyss. From now on, I will repay him well. Lola personally pinned the badge to Gu Qingshan's chest. She put her hand on the badge and silently chanted an incantation. As soon as the incantation was chanted, a few 100 million world layers away, the Saint Bramble Tree sent a great will over and lightly locked onto Gu Qingshan. The will of the Saint Bramble Tree had descended here. It was bearing witness to this. Lola took a deep breath and solemnly declared, Under the witness of the Saint Bramble Tree, we shall make the following promise. One day in the future, when Gu Qingshan is willing, he shall immediately become a Duke of the Bramble Bird Kingdom. The above promise shall be made by Queen Thorns, Lola, and Gu Qingshan. Gu Qingshan, do you agree? She turned to Gu Qingshan. The Saint Bramble Tree's will was also focused on Gu Qingshan. Bali, Miao, Ilya, as well as the guards all held their breaths to witness this precious moment. Gu Qingshan was still kneeling on one knee, looking at Lola and muttering, Chapter 683. Lola happily left. With the Saint Bramble Tree's witness, Gu Qing Shan would sooner or later become a member of the Bramble Bird Kingdom. This was already foreseeable. For now, I'll let him deal with his own matters. The Bramble Bird airship left the Justice Iron Fist Club, returned to the fleet, turned around, and headed towards the vast world layers several 100 million world layers away. Gu Qing Shan lightly rubbed his chest. The emerald badge was invisible and invisible, silently hidden inside. With a single thought from Gu Qing Shan, the badge would appear, waiting for him to activate it. Once he activated the badge, he would automatically become a Duke of the Bramble Bird Kingdom. As for what a Duke could do, what authority and responsibilities he had, Gu Qing Shan didn't bother to ask. Lola only wanted to chat with him for a bit longer, so she didn't bother to talk about such trivial matters. Bali walked up and patted his shoulder. Who would have thought that you would stand up against the Demon King order, and even think of a way to get rid of it? I'm truly surprised. I don't like that order, Gu Qing Shan replied. Bali nodded in understanding with a look of agreement on his face. He continued, infinitely expanding the selfish desires of humans, using the destruction of living beings to increase their own strength. This is also the kind of order I despise the most. At this point, he was even more satisfied with Gu Qing Shan. He dared to go against the Demon King order at such a low level, and even won. Such a person is truly worthy of being a newcomer of the club. With that in mind, Bali spoke up. In general, Miao immediately replied. In general, it's all thanks to my sharp eyes for spotting a hero. Bali paused for a bit, then glared at Miao. I seem to remember, I was the one who suggested for him to stay. I was the one who suggested for you to keep him. I've never heard you say anything like that. It was clearly because I thought he was a good person that I kept him. Bullshit. You said dinner wasn't even settled yet. Although the brother and sister were bickering, they were in a good mood. The fact that Gu Qing Shan was able to join the club was already acknowledged by the two of them. Now, what he had done was even more proof of his character. Hey, Gu Qing Shan, I only heard the gist of it. When are you going to tell me the details? I can use it as material for my novel and write a good story. Miao said. That's not a problem, but hasn't our club's debt been paid off? Why are you writing novels? Gu Qing Shan asked. Miao was startled. Gu Qing Shan said, didn't you work so hard writing novels to earn money to eat? Now that we don't have any debts and Bali's leg is healed, a peerless expert like you doesn't have to force yourself anymore. Miao slowly reacted. Yes. We don't owe each other anymore, and I don't have to worry about my brother being assassinated. Thank you for reminding me. Miao excitedly looked at Bali and said, Bro, take a look, are our credit records back to normal? Bali then showed a prideful smile. I've just checked, including the Spire Keeper Association, hotels, casinos, restaurants, resorts, etc. Our credit has all been restored to good, in other words. Miao excitedly said. That's right, my little sister, in other words. Bali smiled. The brother and sister both answered at the same time. We can go into debt again. Seeing how excited the brother and sister were, Gu Qing Shan felt despair. Hey, you two are peerless combatants, shouldn't you be thinking of a way to earn some money? He asked. After such a long time of hardship, I'm going to go out for a walk and relax a bit. Miao squinted her eyes, apparently thinking of something wonderful. Earning money is only a small matter, Gu Qing Shan. Bali also patted her shoulder. Tomorrow I'll take you to the Black Sail Casino, there's a lot of fun and good food there. Everyone's conversation is really interesting, I really like that place. If your hands are itchy, you can try your luck and gamble a bit, maybe you'll even win some money. But we don't have any money, Gu Qing Shan doubtfully asked. I forgot to tell you, within the 900 million world layers, there's a rule that everyone follows. I'm all ears. As the master of a certain superdimensional world, as well as my identity as a Lord-class combatant, the members of the Justice Iron Fist Club can enjoy a very high credit rating, allowing us to put a large amount of money on our tab, Bali explained. That's right, from now on, you can put the bill on the club's tab after spending money, Meow followed up. I almost forgot to register Gu Qing Shan, Bali facebombed, then said, Meow, register Gu Qing Shan's personal information and put it under the club's name, then announce it to the infinite worlds. That way, when he travels the infinite worlds, he can put it on our tab like we do, no need to pay cash directly. Got it, Meow agreed. She took a strand of Gu Qing Shan's aura and had Gu Qing Shan follow her, performing a series of operations on the void of space. While going through a series of complicated authentication procedures, Meow pridefully told her, All right, from now on, just register with the Justice Iron Fist Club whenever you go out, you won't need to spend any money, won't I get chased after? Gu Qing Shan worriedly asked. Of course not. The Bramble Bird Kingdom has only just finished paying off all of our debts. Our current debt is at an unprecedented level. Sounds like it's quite convenient, Gu Qing Shan sighed emotionally. He followed Meow to register with the infinite worlds, and then he tossed his previous question to the back of his mind. From now on, the Justice Iron Fist Club had an additional person who was hated by all the major businesses of the 900 million world layers. All right, then I'll have to return to my world for a bit. There's a war going on, Gu Qing Shan said. A war? Bali raised his eyebrows and asked. Ah, that's right, the Samsara world. I've fused Huang Quan and the human realm. As I told you before, the other worlds are all eyeing this new world that I've fused, Gu Qing Shan explained. Bali and Meow exchanged glances, both a bit interested. I think you've mentioned this before. But isn't the Samsara world in the mystic zones? Why would there be one in a scattered world? Bali muttered. Meow also said, When Gu Qing Shan mentioned this last time, I was already very interested, but we couldn't go at the time. Bali thought for a bit, then suggested, How about we go with you to take a look, if there's anything troublesome? This Bali, as the representative of justice, naturally wouldn't refuse. That's right, you're a member of our club, and you even killed the Demon King Order. Your future is bright. We'll go with you to settle the matter of your world, Meow followed up. Then it's decided. This is the decision of our Justice Iron Fist Club, Bali clapped his hands and declared. Gu Qing Shan was a bit surprised, then overjoyed. Both Bali and Meow were Lord-class figures within the 900 million world layers. Bali had always gone around saving worlds and fighting against the forces of evil, earning him a great reputation within the 900 million world layers. Otherwise, after becoming demonized, Buttercup wouldn't have returned to repay his kindness. Lola wouldn't have trusted Gu Qing Shan just because she heard the name of the Justice Iron Fist Club. And the businesses and associations of the infinite worlds wouldn't just let them default on a debt worth several world layers without doing anything. Meow even went all out in this battle, revealing her true strength. Even the elders of the Spire Society had to ask for Meow's opinion at crucial moments of the battle in order to determine the overall situation of the battle. It was only after this battle that everyone realized that these two siblings were both Lord-class combatants. Just what kind of power do they have when they're together? Since they're willing to return with me, Gu Qing Shan only had one thing to say. Chapter 684. Gu Qing Shan expressed right away. Of course I have no objections. Very well, if you come with me for a bit, I'll make sure to properly entertain you, Bali smiled. Your cooking skills are quite good, and your liquor is also quite good. I'd like to see what kind of world it is to be able to produce such an expert chef like you. That's great. I've never been to a scattered world before, so I might as well go have some fun and take a look at the Samsara world you speak of, Meow smiled. She still didn't seem to believe that it was a Samsara world. Then, shall we go now? Gu Qing Shan asked. Wait a minute, Meow said. She spread her hands and explained, I just finished such a tough battle. My clothes are all dirty. I need to change. Gu Qing Shan and Bali both looked at her, only to see that Meow was wearing a black leather bodysuit, smooth and shiny, not even a speck of dust could be found on it. How is this dirty? The two of them thought at the same time. But Meow was already heading towards the club, muttering to herself, "So dirty, I need to change." Gu Qing Shan then looked at Bali. Bali had been fighting at the very front. His jacket had already been ripped to shreds and hung on his body. His metal gloves were also cracked and blood-stained. His pants were a mess, barely presentable. "Aren't you going to change?" he asked. "I can still wear these." Bali looked at his clothes and casually replied. Gu Qing Shan reluctantly said, "I think you should change, at least look a bit more spirited." Ahaha, I've been fighting a lot, this is the only set of clothes I have, I haven't had time to buy a new one," Bali said like a hoodlum. Gu Qing Shan was surprised. The club had always been in debt, and Bali was fighting people every day, where would he get a new set of clothes? As a Lord-class combatant of the 900 million world layers, there's really no one else who could do something like this. It seemed that Bali's famous golden statue wasn't a coincidence, it was inevitable. Gu Qing Shan sighed and took out a set of his spare clothes. "My size is about the same as yours if you don't mind." "Of course not, ha ha ha." Bali happily took the clothes and walked towards the club. Outside the club, Gu Qing Shan was left alone. Taking this time, Gu Qing Shan turned her gaze towards the War God UI. War God quest kept flashing, displaying some sort of notification. Gu Qing Shan placed her mind on the War God quest. Several lines of glowing text immediately popped up on the War God quest. "You've defeated World's Apocalypse Online. Revolution. You've stopped the spread of the Demon King Order, and completed the series of War God quests. War God quests additional soul points usage state. Ready, now gone. You've received the War God quest reward, a secret. Would you like to check the secret now?" Gu Qing Shan replied. Yes. A few more lines of glowing text appeared on the War God UI. In consideration that you are the holder of the War God authority, in consideration that you already know the relevant information about world tombs, in consideration that you've fused with 2 tiny fragments of the samsara world, the secret you'll learn has been confirmed. Please remain absolutely calm. Please do not repeat the system's notification aloud. Please do not reveal a single word. Only when you feel that you can do this will the system reveal the corresponding secret. The War God UI had never been so cautious before. Gu Qing Shan was more and more curious. "I understand, don't worry, I'll keep this a secret," Gu Qing Shan replied. Receiving his promise, new lines of glowing text appeared on the War God UI. The secret is as follows. Firstly, there is only a single samsara world in the entire 900 million world layers. It hides the most world tombs, a self-preservation measure left behind by the old gods for all living beings. Secondly, the old gods didn't expect that the samsara world would be destroyed. Attention, the above is a secret among secrets, only the old gods and their enemies know about it. You cannot say it, you definitely cannot say it. If you do, a great disaster will befall you. Please cherish your life and act with utmost caution. After the lines of glowing text finished appearing, they disappeared without a trace. Gu Qing Shan froze. There is only a single samsara world in the 900 million world layers? How is that possible? Wait a minute, the suspended world. The cultivators there haven't even seen a Tianma before, so it really isn't a samsara world. Bali and Meow also said that the samsara world is a mystic zone, and only the bramble bird race is in contact with the outside world in the entire mystic zones. After entering the 900 million world layers, I really haven't seen any information about the samsara world. But, why would there be a samsara world in the scattered worlds, the outermost worlds that could be destroyed at any moment? My homeworld, the cultivation world, Shen Wu world. These are all samsara worlds. Perhaps it's because they're hidden outside the 900 million world layers, hidden among the scattered worlds that the combatants of other worlds don't know about them. That's why Lord-class combatants like Bali and Meow were so curious. There is only a single samsara world, The samsara world has been destroyed. I've fused two tiny fragments of the samsara world together. Gu Qingshan went silent and tried to think. According to the war god system, during the age of old, the old gods left behind a means of self-preservation for the living beings of other worlds. These things were hidden within world tombs. And the samsara world had the most world tombs. Perhaps. Chapter 685. Gu Qingshan's Homeworld. The Holy Empire. A small town at the border. A screen flashed. Gu Qingshan, Bali, and Miao appeared. Bali and Miao's attention was drawn to the church in the middle of the town. Ah, a church of the death god? Miao's cat ears twitched in interest. Bali carefully looked at the details of the church and commented, "From the architectural style, there isn't even the slightest bit of difference. It doesn't seem fake at all." The two of them exchanged looks, feeling a bit surprised. There are believers of the death god in a scattered world. This was really unexpected. Normally, a scattered world that could be destroyed at any moment in space wouldn't attract anyone's attention. But the death god did. As the two of them were about to take a look, their expressions changed. At the same time, Gu Qingshan also noticed. The three of them looked up. A giant tentacle stretched across the sky. Countless mechs and interstellar warships fired volley after volley of heavy firepower at the tentacle. But the giant tentacle was only trembling from the attacks without being harmed at all. "Stand down," a stern voice shouted. A man leapt into the sky, then turned into a giant lion, swinging his claws in the air. These claws turned into cold gleams of light that struck the tentacle. Blood splattered everywhere. Although the lion managed to wound the tentacle, this wound was still too small for the entire tentacle. Not to mention how gigantic the owner of the tentacle was. Beast King? Gu Qingshan couldn't help but ask. This time, it was his turn to be surprised. Since when did Beast King step forward to protect the human realm? The hollow brain in Gu Qingshan's chest pocket suddenly activated. Impartial goddess voice came from the hollow brain. "Sir, it's good to see you again. I'm also glad to be back. The two people next to you are?" "We're on the same side. That's good, sir. I must say, you shouldn't have come back." "Why not? The world has fallen into unprecedented danger." "What happened?" A projection appeared on the screen. Gu Qingshan, Bali, and Miao all looked over. Countless space monsters were surrounding the outside of the world, trying to break into the world one after another. Humans, Asuras, Demis, Beast Kings, and Wraiths all gathered together to deal with the invasion of the space monsters. How did the situation develop like this? Gu Qingshan was puzzled. In the past, space monsters had never been interested in this world. Why did it attract the attention of space monsters now? Gu Qingshan silently pondered. Bali nodded and said, "It seems like this is a big problem for the scattered worlds." Miao crossed her arms and looked at the sky. "Brother, why don't we hunt down a few delicious ones? Of course we have to fight." As Bali spoke, he got into a stance and continued, "But there are so many space monsters, I can't even look at them all. How can I take my time to choose?" "I don't care, I want to eat those with fresh and tender meat," Miao said. "Of course I know." Saying so, Bali's presence surged as he threw a punch at the sky. He shouted, 3,000 worlds deity king overlord annihilation fist. Miao. Gu Qingshan. Miao couldn't help but look at Gu Qingshan and saw that his expression was a bit strange. "Are you wondering what the 3,000 overlord fists is?" Miao silently sent her voice. "That's right," Gu Qingshan generously admitted. "Ignore him, he only thinks that the name sounds domineering, so when he calls it out, it also sounds more imposing. Is that so? Right, the name of his technique has nothing to do with his fists, it's only for the sake of sounding good. That's also a way to confuse the enemy. This isn't a fight between children, why would he need to confuse them?" Bam! Bali's light punch hit the void of space, giving off a low, dull sound. In a split second, a deep howl of pain resounded in the sky. The tentacle that stretched across the sky, as well as its boundless body, began to madly twist. A few moments later, the gigantic space monster fell into a remote swamp outside the border. Boom, 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 boom. The monster's gigantic body was violently crashing into the ground. Bali waved his hand. That's enough. Meow looked at the falling monster. I've eaten this one before. It doesn't taste good, and it makes dust everywhere when it falls. Might as well throw it away. She reached her hand out towards the falling monster and pressed it from afar. Space itself began to tremble. In a split second, the monster's body that filled their vision suddenly disappeared without a trace. Meow looked up, her gaze seemed to be able to see through the atmosphere, staring at the boundless space outside. She muttered to herself, "Let me see which monster is worth catching," Bali asked with concern. "Pick carefully, I don't want to get diarrhea again. Bro, what do you think of that one?" "That one doesn't taste good, idiot sister. Did you forget that we didn't even have a few bites last time?" "Ah, I remember now. Don't think about it. Let's catch that one. I remember it tastes good." "The red one?" "No, it's covered in eyes. It's too disgusting." "All right, let's get another one." Gu Qing-shan stood on one side. A few flashes of light appeared on his hollow brain. Impartial goddess voice came. "Sir, the monsters that surrounded the planet outside the atmosphere are all dead. Their corpses are currently floating in space." Gu Qing-shan couldn't help but twitch a bit. Bali just stood there and casually threw a punch. "What kind of power is that?" Sure enough, bringing back 2 Lord-class combatants can solve a lot of problems. This is the benefit of being strong. Gu Qing-shan thought for a bit, then said, "About that, let me interrupt." Bali and Meow looked at him. Gu Qing-shan explained, You don't need to eat space monsters anymore. Since you've come to my world, I'll treat you to a lot of local delicacies." Bali was a bit surprised. Meow was also a bit surprised, but quickly realized. Bali sighed, I can't help but want to eat space monsters whenever I see them, mainly because it's been so long since I've eaten anything good." Meow also sighed and said dejectedly, "Whenever I think about eating space monsters, I'll remember the days when we owed each other money." Gu Qing-shan looked at the two of them, feeling that they were the most pitiful combatants she's ever seen. The hollow brain in her chest pocket lit up again. Impartial goddess continued, "Outside of space, even more giant monsters are heading this way." The screen turned on. Floating monster corpses were everywhere in space. Bali threw a punch. All of them were instantly killed. But far away in space, even more monsters were flying. Among the new arrivals, some were holding monster corpses and munching on them. But even more were heading straight for the planet. Bali scowled. "Sis, if there's no need to eat monster corpses anymore, just throw them all away." "Got it." Meow clapped her hands. In a flash, all the monster corpses on the screen disappeared without a trace. "Next, I'll get rid of these garbage things," Bali said. He stood there, looking up at the sky. An immense power was rising from his body. "All of you, scram!" Bali shouted impatiently. A single scram word pierced through the restraints of space, went straight to the sky, and continued to spread beyond space. All the monsters froze. Instinctively, they understood the message contained in that voice. Powerful, cruel, tyrannical, merciless. From a certain life form at the end of the food chain. That ultimate life form wouldn't allow them to come here. The space monsters trembled in fear, turning their heads and fleeing in all directions. A few moments later, Impartial Goddess' voice came again. "Sir, there are no longer any space monsters in space." Impartial Goddess' voice contained a bit of joy. "The 2 powerful friends you brought back, their fighting prowess is beyond what I can calculate." "That's right, they're the strongest." Gu Qing-shan smiled. Impartial Goddess spoke. "Fortunately, the return of you and your friends has completely resolved my worries towards this world." "Worries? Please explain the current situation to me," Gu Qing-shan quickly said. Chapter 686. Impartial Goddess told them about the recent event. It turns out that Gu Qingshan's plan worked. Yi Feili understood Gu Qingshan's meaning very well. He threatened the demis and wraiths, using destroying this world as a bargaining chip to drag them into the competition. When the competition started, even the Beast Kings and Asuras joined in. Everyone wanted to get their hands on this world, but Yi Feili took that chance and followed Impartial Goddess's plan to continuously attack and kill enemies that could help him evolve. Finally, right before the finals, he had already surpassed all of his opponents. But before he could act as the murder clown, the world changed. The space monsters began to take an interest in this world. More and more space monsters appeared. They wanted to eat every living being on this world. Some with bigger appetites even wanted to eat this world as well. The Six Realms tournament was stopped. The demis, wraiths, asuras, and beast kings all began to fight against the space monsters. They wouldn't allow this world to fall into the hands of outsiders. Stop, there's no need to talk about this anymore. I want to know what you're worried about, Gu Qingshan asked directly. Impartial Goddess answered, Sir, there's a reason why this world hasn't been discovered by space monsters for countless years. What reason? Because of the 9 Lords of the Federation, they have enough technology to hide this world from the universe. That way, the space monsters wouldn't be able to find this world. If there were no problems after so many years, why would the space monsters come now? Because the 9 Lords' core members are all dead. On the screen, the scene of Su Cher rushing into the 9 Lords' gathering was shown. The 9 Lords were trying to establish a cultivation power center that's above the country. Su Cher tried to stop them, but her parents wanted to take away her authority. At the scene, everyone was trying to deal with Su Cher. Finally, the scene of Su Cher bathing the entire manor in blood. Blood Sea card, so this is Blood Sea's disciple? How pitiful, Meow commented. Bali nodded and said nothing. Schwer! Impartial Goddess, has Su Cher returned yet? Gu Qingshan asked. She didn't return, sir. I must now explain everything to you clearly, Impartial Goddess replied. Speak. I once sent robots to the North Pole to turn on the wave detector that blocked the world again, but all my attempts failed. What is the reason? Sir, please take a look. On the screen, the scene of the North Pole appeared again. This was the scene captured by the satellite. A mysterious enemy had appeared. The protector of the 9 Lords was killed on the spot, unable to retaliate. Impartial Goddess replied, Sir, I said you shouldn't have returned because these people are too powerful, much more powerful than the current Yi Feili. They are hiding in the shadows, waiting for an opportunity to strike. I don't even dare to tell the truth to Zhang Yongho and Yi Feili, otherwise, if they do anything out of the ordinary, it would draw the attention of these observers. Gu Qingshan looked at the blade that killed the protector of the 9 Lords and asked Bali, What do you think? Bali glanced at the screen and praised. Well-trained, cruel and vicious, even I had to use 2 fingers to kill all of them. Gu Qingshan then calmed down. There won't be any problems. He asked. Impartial Goddess, why didn't the recording just now have any sound? I think I saw them talking to each other. Sir, that place is the 9 Lords' Holy Land. I won't lie to you, I originally belonged to the 9 Lords, so I didn't set up any sound recording device there. Gu Qingshan thought for a bit, then said, Extract the recording of the conversation just now and make it into a single image. Yes, Your Excellency. A few images appeared on the screen. The mysterious people each took a place, as did the protector of the 9 Lords. Gu Qingshan glanced at them and said, Arrange them according to the order they spoke. Yes, sir. The images began to arrange themselves. Bali and Meow exchanged glances, both showing a look of praise. Knowing that their side can easily defeat the other side, they're still so meticulous and didn't let go of any information. This is the kind of person who can truly achieve great things. Gu Qingshan stared at the screen and began to communicate with Impartial Goddess. First of all, they can communicate with the 9 Lords' protectors, as well as using human common language. which is also our world's common language. Yes, sir. Then, the first sentence was spoken by the Nine Lords Protector. Zoom in on her image and analyze her lip movements. Yes, sir. Lip reading is currently being performed. A few moments later, Impartial Goddess spoke. Complete results obtained. Please take a look at the screen, sir. Gu Shan looked at the screen, only to see a line of text. This place is clearly a scattered world, the most inconspicuous corner of the universe. Why, these were the Nine Lords Protector's exact words. Gu Shan nodded. Very well, now analyze each person's words one by one, arrange them according to the order they spoke. Impartial Goddess spoke. Well, analysis complete, arranged as follows. One of the mysterious people spoke. It's because this place is so inconspicuous that a world tomb could be hidden here. The Nine Lords Protector was confused. World tomb. The mysterious person spoke. Since you've discovered us and heard such things, it's time for you to die. Before she died, the Nine Lords Protector shouted. I authorize you to release all restraints. You must take good care of her. Please pay attention, sir. This is the Protector's will to me. The mysterious person asked. What did her last words mean? Another mysterious person spoke. I don't know, you killed them too quickly. It's just a small matter, no need to pay attention to it. Are you sure it's here? There's no way to be sure, but since this world had undergone a fusion, that kind of fluctuation happened to appear at that time. Let's observe a bit more. If this place really is a world tomb. Gu Shan finished reading through all of their conversations. Bali and Miao also finished reading through them. Ah? A world tomb? Miao asked curiously. So it's a world tomb, Bali also commented. Both of them were very calm. They've been through countless storms, seen countless treasures and dangers, so they weren't easily moved by anything else. Bali looked at Gu Shan and asked, Do you know what a world tomb is? I do, Gu Shan answered. Bali unexpectedly smiled and muttered, Who would have thought a scattered world like this would have a world tomb? What do you plan to do? Gu Shan asked. He and Bali were facing each other, eye to eye. A world tomb is a place where the old gods hide their treasures. Against this temptation, it's time to test each other. Bali scoffed. So what if it's the old gods? So what if it's a treasure trove? In this great one's eyes, world peace is the most important thing. Also, this is your world, just tell me what you want and this great one will do it for you. Consider it a welcoming ceremony for you to join the club, Miao also said. We've traveled across the 900 million world layers. We've already excavated 3 world tombs in the past. 2 of them were filled with extremely troublesome monsters. It took us a lot of effort to kill them all. That's right, they were probably a failed species created by the old gods. What a headache, Bali also commented. 3 world tombs. What about the last one? Gu Shan asked. The last one was a coordinate map. My brother and I followed the map and found a completely new super-dimensional world. Once we were strong enough, we established a club on top of it. That was the Justice Iron Fist Club, Miao explained. So that's how it was, Gu Shan nodded. At this point, Impartial Goddess issued a warning. Sir, those mysterious people have noticed the commotion here. They'll be here very soon. Come, let's get to the bottom of this, Bali smiled and said. A few moments later, several black figures slowly descended from the sky. From the black figures, a light voice came. For someone to be able to kill a space monster so quickly in such a remote place, this great one is a bit interested. A second later, the voice was raised an octave higher, becoming shrill and ear-piercing. The hell? Iron Fist Bali. It's the Justice Iron Fist Club. The black figures quickly flew to the sky, about to run away. Run! Miao chuckled and clapped her hands. She didn't seem to want to do anything. Gu Shan watched as those people tried their best, even using all sorts of life-risking secret techniques to escape from this place. But no matter how much they ran, they still slowly descended from the sky, standing in front of the 3 of them. They became even more panicked, flying, running, jumping, flashing, trying everything they could to escape. Running so fast, do you have something against our club? Chapter 687. While these mysterious people were being trapped by Meow, more and more people in this world noticed the commotion here. They were quickly gathering from every direction. A gate of light suddenly opened in the center of the town. Bali stared at the gate of light and asked in interest, "Ah, this is a kind of technological method." "A relatively primitive method of warping," Meow commented. Two people came out from the gate of light. Yi Fei Li and Zhang Yongho. "You're back." Zhang Yongho looked at Gu Qingshan and asked. "That's right, I had to deal with something at the last minute so I didn't have time to greet you," Gu Qingshan replied. Yi Fei Li glanced at Bali and Meow and asked, "I heard from Impartial Goddess that the people you brought back instantly killed all the monsters. Was it these two GMs?" "That's right, it was them," Gu Qingshan smiled and replied. He then introduced them to each other. "This is Zhang Yongho, this is Yi Fei Li. They're both my business partners and good friends," Gu Qingshan introduced. Bali then nodded to greet them. "Nice to meet you, I'm Bali, Iron Fist Bali. I'm his little sister Meow. We're here to play." Meow tilted her head and greeted them. Their attitude was very friendly and friendly. Indeed, this pair of brother and sister had been living in poverty since they were young. Even after spending a lot of hard work to become a peerless combatant, their name resounding across the 900 million world layers, they were still living in poverty. Not to mention their relationship with Gu Qingshan, they didn't put on any airs. Yi Fei Li cautiously greeted them. "Nice to meet you." Zhang Yongho was much more experienced. He instantly opened his arms and said warmly, "Welcome to our holiday. No matter what Gu Qingshan says, I will pay for all your expenses here." Bullseye. No matter what he said, it was not as effective as this sentence. Bali and Meow couldn't help but smile. "Thank you very much." The siblings greeted in unison. Zhang Yongho's mind was clear, while Yi Fei Li was honest and naive. Bali and Meow quickly became familiar with them and had a good impression of them. Hence, the conversation between the two parties became more and more pleasant. The pitiful few mysterious people behind the scenes were cast aside and ignored by everyone. At this time, in the sky, the Frost Flame Wraith King, the Heavenly God, the Azura King, and the Beast King arrived one after another. They looked down in bewilderment, each with different reactions. The new Heavenly God wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and muttered blankly, "Too strong, how could there be such a powerful entity?" The Frost Flame Wraith King was speechless for a long time, then his gaze fell onto Gu Qingshan and muttered in confusion, "She's clearly a human, why does she have that kind of presence?" The Azura King smiled bitterly. "It seems we're all frogs at the bottom of a well no matter how much we fight." Fortunately, one of them seems to be fated with our Azura race. His gaze also fell onto Gu Qingshan. The Beast King stared at Bali, trembling so much that he couldn't say a single word. As a beast, his instincts were the sharpest, able to sense the terrifying power that the others couldn't. At this point, the rest of them had also finished their small talk. Zhang Yongho loudly laughed. "Gentlemen, after you're done here, I'll take you to the best bar in this world. I'll be welcoming you tonight." "A bar? Then I'll be troubling you," Bali smiled. Meow, however, said, "I'm more interested in the cooking here. After all, Gu Qingshan's cooking is superb." Zhang Yongho immediately replied, "That's simple, I have a personal team of 20 chefs." He took out his holobrain and connected to the mountaintop mansion. This time, Chairman Zhang personally chose the menu and prepared 30 dishes in a row before stopping. Hearing the names of the dishes on the menu, even Gu Qingshan felt hungry. Meow happily patted Zhang Yongho's shoulder and half-jokingly said, "You're very smart, I have faith in you. What do we do with these people?" Yi Fei Li looked at the mysterious people behind the scenes and asked. "These people don't look quite right," Bali casually replied. Meow became cautious and asked, "Why do you say that?" Bali scowled. It's normal for them to recognize me. There are too many people in the 900 million world layers who recognize me, but they're acting so panicked that I can't help but feel like there's a problem." Meow glanced at them. From the very beginning, they've been trying their best to run away. Ah? That seems to be the case. Why would they run when they see my bro? My bro doesn't kill indiscriminately, Meow muttered. She blew a breath of air at those people. Oh! A strong gust of wind. In an instant, the clothes, equipment, and weapons of the mysterious people all disappeared without a trace. They were only left with their underwear, and they shouted and screamed in panic. "Don't move, behave yourselves and let this lady see clearly," Meow shouted. She suddenly stopped as her expression changed. "Bro, look quickly." Bali's expression turned solemn and coldly spoke. "So that's why, I was wondering why they were so panicked." Everyone turned to look, only to see that the mysterious people all had the same tattoo on their bodies. It was a black face, half of it was a man, the other half was a woman, but no matter which half it was, they all looked like they were screaming in pain. As soon as this tattoo was revealed, everyone couldn't help but feel a chill from the bottom of their hearts. The Azura King couldn't help but scoff, expressing his anger at his involuntary fear. "Who are they?" Gu Qingshan asked. "They're people from God Institute," Bali answered in a heavy tone. God Institute is a group of fanatical God worshippers. They collect all mystical items in order to resurrect an ancient god, Meow explained. "We know their leaders from before," Bali said. "You know them?" "That's right. Those Lord-class powerhouses are all very strong, and they are very capable in all aspects. They had done a lot of preparation work beforehand, but it's a pity that they made a mistake in one of the most important things." "What is it?" Gu Qingshan asked. "The thing they're trying to resurrect isn't an ancient god." "Not an ancient god? Then what is it?" Bali and Meow both went silent. Finally Bali said, "No one knows what it is. Fortunately, that thing only came back to life for a split second, then died. That's it?" Gu Qingshan pointed at the half-man, half-woman face of pain on those people's bodies and explained. "That's right, although it quickly fell into a state of death again, as soon as it came back to life. Everyone in God Institute experienced a drastic change in their personalities, becoming completely different from before. They sealed off God Institute, not allowing anyone to get close, and frequently sent people out to do things that no one understands. For example, this time they came to the scattered worlds to find the world tomb?" Bali replied. "That's right, scattered worlds are places that no one wants to come to, but they were able to pay attention to this place." "How unexpected," Meow further explained. "Within the 900 million world layers, many organizations are becoming more and more afraid of God Institute. Because they're too eerie right now, anyone who falls into their hands doesn't even know where their soul is." Bali patted Gu Qingshan's shoulder and said, "But you don't need to worry, this Iron Fist. Bali is the strongest man in the 900 million world layers. Even if all the maniacs of God Institute come at me at once, they won't be able to win against me." Gu Qingshan sighed, then said, "Hearing you say that, I feel much better now. It sounds like you don't like them?" Zhang Young-ho chimed in. Bali nodded. "I often kill two kinds of people. The first are those who casually destroy worlds, the second are those who willfully kill innocent people, and the last are the maniacs of God Institute. I also hate them right now. I believe that the moment that thing came to life, it changed their souls," Meow continued. "That's why, Gu Qingshan, if you have any ideas, just do whatever you want. Bali and I will take care of them for you." "Thank you," Gu Qingshan replied. He lowered his head and thought for a bit. Bali and Meow both silently waited for his decision. A few moments later, Gu Qingshan looked up and slowly spoke. "The person they killed was the protector of the Nine Lords. I've met her before." Bali gestured for him to continue. "Originally, her mouth was sewn shut. Normally she only used telepathy to communicate. That's why she opened her mouth to speak in order to draw out their goal. She knew that impartial goddess was recording everything and would be able to relay what happened at the time. Even at the moment of her death, She was still making plans for Su Cher, hoping that impartial goddess would protect Su Cher. I believe that she had indeed fulfilled her duty as an elder to Su Cher. That's why I want to kill these people to avenge her. Meow was a bit confused and couldn't help but ask, "Wait a minute, you want to avenge her? Isn't she Su Cher's elder?" Chapter 688. A dark purple pillar of light shot straight up to the sky. Everyone turned to look, only to see that it was the people who were restrained by Meow. They were holding their palms against each other, forming a double ring. The dark purple pillar of light passed through their bodies, forming a closed circle of light that shone towards the boundless void of space. Meow looked at the eerie purple pillar of light and said, "Bro, it's that famous soul curse." Before Bali could say anything, the leader of the group spoke up. "Bali, we can't win against you, but remember this well, you will never be able to fight against our god. Your god only lived for less than a second," Bali scoffed. This seemed to have angered the man. "Bali, you're powerful, but can you protect this world forever? Do you see this glorious purple light? With it here, we have nothing to fear." The leader smiled eerily and continued, "Come and kill us the next time we resurrect. We'll definitely bring even more people to take revenge." This caused everyone to go silent. Bali also scowled. Obviously, even he felt some sort of trouble. "I want to ask," he said, "resurrect. Can they really come back to life after dying?" Zhang Young-ho asked in disbelief. Meow explained, "That's right, these people's souls are cursed. When they die, their souls will directly return to a certain place, change bodies, and resurrect. Because of this resurrection ability of theirs, more and more people within the 900 million world layers are beginning to fear these maniacs. Seeing that they've managed to suppress everyone, the group of people began to feel triumphant. Their leader looked at Gu Qingshan and asked, "Just now, you said you wanted to take revenge for someone?" "That's right," Gu Qingshan replied. The leader stared closely at Gu Qingshan and slowly spoke. "We really can't win against someone like Bali, but you're different, brat. This is the first time I've been threatened by someone who's about to die." Gu Qingshan smiled. The leader said with a gloomy expression, "I didn't want to threaten you. That would make us look like we're too calculative with ants, but you ruined our plan, so it's different." "What are your plans?" Gu Qingshan was still smiling. The leader said, "I've noticed that apart from you, no one else in this world seems to be able to leave this place." Gu Qingshan's smile froze. He instantly understood what the other party meant. "Sure enough," the leader continued, "you need to understand one thing, Barry can't protect this world forever. One day we will kill everyone in this world and take away their souls. Among these people, there must be some that you care about, right? You will regret for the rest of your life for provoking us. And you, Bali, you will soon learn that individual strength is useless in front of our God. We will make you feel the pain and despair of powerlessness." Bali scoffed and clenched his fist. "I'll be watching over this world at all times. You scum, go die first." As he was about to attack, Gu Qingshan stopped him. "Very few people use this world to threaten me," Gu Qingshan muttered. "Don't worry, I'll kill them all with a single punch," Bali replied. "If they can be revived, there's no point in doing that." "Wait a moment, I need to confirm something first," Gu Qingshan said. Bali pulled his fist back. The leader laughed. "We don't even fear death, we can return to this world countless times. Even if Bali finds us, as long as we can kill a few people each time, this world will soon be destroyed." Gu Qingshan ignored him. "Shanu," he called out. The 6 Paths Great Mountain Sword flew out and turned into a blue dress girl. "I'm here, Gongzi, I have a question. Please ask." Gongzi. Gu Qingshan looked at Shanu and said nothing. Everyone waited for a bit, then realized that he was using telepathy to communicate with the sword spirit. A few moments later, Shanu looked at Gu Qingshan and nodded. Gu Qingshan then told Yi Feili, "Have the Forgetting River Soul Separating Hook come out for a bit." Next to Yi Feili, the Forgetting River Soul Separating Hook appeared. I'm here, Gu Qing Shan, what's the matter? It asked. Shanu said that you can hook people's souls? Once you enter the Forgetting River, the past is gone, and I'm a weapon manifested from the Forgetting River, so I can easily do that. Then there's no problem, Gu Qing Shan nodded. As soon as she said that, in that split second, Shanu disappeared. Gu Qing Shan wielded the Six Paths Great Mountain Sword and pointed it straight at the people from God Institute. Secret Art, Water Flow Severance. With Gu Qing Shan's current cultivation, the full power of this secret art was much more powerful than before. Those people were completely restrained by Miao. Not only did they have no ability to retaliate, all of their defensive measures were also stripped away. They couldn't even move. The sword phantom struck them. They were directly smashed into pieces by the blazing sword lights one after another. As soon as this happened, the leader had already realized that death was coming. Let's wait and see, he calmly said. Ho, the sharp sword-infused wind howled. The people from God Institute were all killed by Gu Qing Shan. However, the purple halo expanded violently crashing into the void. Several humanoid figures appeared from within the purple light. They glanced at Gu Qing Shan, then followed the purple light and flew towards the sky. It's a soul! Miao shouted in a low voice. She waved her hands again and again, causing countless ripples in the void of space, but finally gave up. I can't, this is an incomprehensible soul technique, I can't stop it, she muttered. The purple light shot all the way to the sky, forming a gigantic pillar of light. It was as if this pillar of light was going to take the pieces of flesh and blood, as well as the souls, and break through the void of space to escape. Gu Qing Shan's figure moved and shot up. Shanu! I'm ready, Shanu replied. Gu Qing Shan activated his sword hand seal and flew towards the purple pillar of light. In the blink of an eye, Gu Qing Shan had gotten close to the purple pillar of light. He attacked. In a split second, his sword flashed like lightning, slashing at the purple pillar of light non-stop. Secret Art, 12 Layered Crescent Slash. In the sky, a series of large white crescent sword phantoms struck the purple pillar of light, causing it to shake. Break! Gu Qing Shan shouted. He swung with all his strength. A crescent moon suddenly appeared in the sky. The crescent moon struck the purple pillar of light. Boom! The purple pillar of light was cut in half. All the purple light quickly collapsed. The soul technique was destroyed. Miao stared closely at the sword in Gu Qing Shan's hand and asked in surprise, a forbidden technique? Or a lawbreaker? Gu Qing Shan put his sword away and called out to the sky below. Come! A hook that gave off a grayish-yellow aura shot up to the sky. The Forgetting River Soul Flaying Hook. It aimed at a certain spot in the sky and stabbed forward. Suddenly, a few translucent human figures were hooked by the long hooks. Soul Flaying. This was the Forgetting River's soul-flaying ability, manifested directly from the Forgetting River's divine hook. The half-transparent figures struggled madly, but couldn't escape the hook's grasp. The hook dragged the souls to Gu Qing Shan. I'm going to send them into the Huang Quan realm, are you ready? The hook asked. Don't worry, just take them there and leave the rest to me, Gu Qing Shan nodded. Got it, the Forgetting River soul flaying hook took the souls and disappeared from the sky. After the Huang Quan realm and human realm fused, the only thing that separated them was the Forgetting River. While the Forgetting River soul flaying hook could travel through the void of space and return to the Forgetting River, Gu Qing Shan descended from the sky. Miao stared at him and asked, was that a divine armament born from the law of Huang Quan just now? Took away those souls? That's right, Gu Qing Shan replied. Miao sighed. I didn't think the law of samsara would be so powerful, it could even suppress that monster's soul connection technique, Bali asked. Since those people have been sent to Huang Quan, will they reincarnate in this world? No, they won't reincarnate, Gu Qing Shan replied. Why not? I remember that according to the law of the samsara world, The souls of the dead will be reborn in the samsara after passing through Huang Quan. Miao was confused. Because they made me unhappy, Gu Qingshan replied. He grabbed the void of space. Chapter 689. Gu Qingshan held the Devil King Warden Rod in her hand and told everyone, "I'm going to welcome the newcomer, I'll be right back." Saying so, he activated the scepter's secret art. Dead essence, dead essence. The Devil King can freely travel through the layers of hell, communicating with all dead beings from afar, as well as instantly awakening any slumbering dead. In a split second, Gu Qingshan disappeared. Everyone was shocked. Gu Qingshan clearly isn't an expert in spatial magic, but he was able to disappear right in front of me. How interesting. Isn't that the scepter's power? Miao was intrigued. Yi Feili replied. He's the Devil King of the Huang Quan realm, Zhang Yung-ho added. Hell is his home. He can go there whenever he wants. Both of them were talking. Even Bali was curious. Bali couldn't help but ask. Within the samsara, isn't Huang Quan a place for the dead? Why is Gu Qingshan the Devil King of that place? Zhang Yung-ho replied. That's a long story. Since we don't have anything else to do right now, just tell me, Miao said. Alright, it's like this, Zhang Yung-ho said. He started from the beginning of the Frost Calamity and told the whole story. Bali smiled. What a unique way to save the world, as expected of a member of our club, Miao pondered. Bro, have you ever heard of any magic that can allow someone to directly enter the world of the dead? Bali replied. Other than the death god's follower, I can't think of any other. That's right, the samsara world is truly a wondrous place. It's a self-contained cycle that even the eternal death god wouldn't be able to interfere with, Miao said. Bali then mentioned something else. I saw it very clearly. Gu Qingshan's sword wasn't a forbidden spell, but a spellbreaker. It directly broke through soul-type spells. Furthermore, that long hook was able to capture souls, while Gu Qingshan's scepter was able to command hell. These aren't powers that a normal divine armament could achieve, Miao nodded. After what just happened, I can't help but feel that the samsara's law of origin is a bit too powerful. Regardless of which world it is compared to, I really don't know how the gods could create such a world and such a weapon when they created the world. Bali sighed. The other side. Yellow Springs realm. Hell. Holding the Devil King Warden Rod in her hand, Gu Qingshan's mind moved to sense every movement within the 18 layers of hell. The billions of living beings that were suffering in hell were all within his grasp. Gu Qingshan quickly found the people from God Institute. There were a total of 5 of them, but none of them managed to escape and were all trapped in hell. It was now that Gu Qingshan felt reassured. The Divine Mountain Lawbreaker, the Forgetting River Soul Reaper, and the Devil King Warden Rod, all 3 divine armaments were used at the same time to capture all of these eerie fellows. In truth, Gu Qingshan could have tried not to use the Forgetting River soul separating hook to see if the souls of those who died in the samsara world returned to the samsara, or where they came from. But these people's origins were too eerie and dangerous, so Gu Qingshan wasn't willing to gamble, nor did she want to let them go back to report, so she directly used the Forgetting River soul separating hook to take their souls away. The frozen hell, huh? Gu Qingshan's figure moved and began to travel between the layers of hell. In his vision, lines of glowing text appeared on the war god UI. You've killed 5 enemies, you've defeated the stronger 5 times as the weaker soul points increased. 18,000 soul points increased. 17,000 soul points increased. 14,000 soul points increased. 20,000 soul points increased. 27,000 through calculations. Your remaining soul points is soul points, also known as divine power, which can play a crucial role in crucial moments. Looking at his soul points, Gu Qingshan felt a bit more assured. But these people seemed to be a lot weaker than the purgatory fiends from before. Once I return to the superdimensional world, should I have Bali and Miao catch another purgatory boar so I can get more soul points? While thinking that, he continued to travel, and quickly arrived at the frozen hell. The frozen hell was still as cold as ever, covered in snow and ice. Following the Devil King Wardenrod's signal, Gu Qingshan silently moved forward towards an ice pit where the dead were buried. After flying for a while, Gu Qingshan stopped in the middle of the icy fog and looked down, only to see a few newly dead people lying silently at the bottom of the ice pit with their eyes closed. From their appearances, they were the people from God Institute. Their souls had obtained the bodies of the dead. To make it easier for sinners to suffer, hell will grant the souls that come here the bodies of the dead. This body is exactly the same as their bodies when they were alive, allowing them to feel the pain and suffering of various punishments. And now, the next step can be taken. Gu Qingshan held the Devil King Wardenrod in her hand and activated the power of Dead Essence. Inside the ice, the people from God Institute abruptly woke up. They opened their eyes wide, panicking as they looked around. It was clear that they were shocked by the environment they were in. Very quickly, they began to struggle intensely. The ice broke apart. They all jumped out. "Boss, where are we?" one of them asked. "I'm not sure, but it seems like we haven't returned to God Institute yet," the leader answered in a low voice. Everyone looked around, only to find that the ice and snow around them stretched as far as their eyes could see. Other than that, they couldn't see anything else. One of them spoke. "I remember that familiar feeling of teleportation didn't change after we died, so why did we end up here?" Another person replied. "It was indeed teleportation at the beginning, but you might have lost your senses too early. At the very last moment, I felt an unparalleled pulling force," another person agreed. "I also felt it. It was an irresistible force, as if it was that force that brought us to this place." Everyone went silent and began to think about the meaning of this. As Gu Qingshan was about to fly down, hearing their discussion, he suddenly stopped. After a bit of thought, he silently flew back to the top of the frozen hell and hid inside the icy fog. It seems that at the moment of their death, due to the effects of the soul technique, their consciousness wasn't completely clear. Then let's observe their reactions, perhaps there'll be some unexpected gains. With that in mind, Gu Qingshan hid himself and stopped moving. A few moments later, sure enough, the people of God Institute observed their surroundings again and began to discuss. Someone said whimsically, "Could it be because we failed our mission, so God is very dissatisfied with us and directly sent us to this place?" Unexpectedly, his words received everyone's approval. The leader nodded. "Look, there are many souls frozen on the ground around here, all of them look like they're in pain. I'm guessing that this is a place for people to suffer and reflect on themselves. Then there's no mistaking it. God most likely wants to punish us." "Indeed, I also think that's the case. Then what do we do now?" The mission failed. Let's just accept our punishment. We can only pray that God will forgive us soon and give us a new mission so that we can atone for our sins." The leader spoke in a low voice. "There's no need to say anything else. If God was able to send us here, He must know of our current reactions, so let's just accept our divine punishment." Everyone nodded in agreement. Following the example of the dead, they once again buried themselves in the ice. Inside the crater of ice, everyone was quickly shivering from the cold. Although the frozen hell doesn't have any physical torture, the cold of this hell directly affects the essence of the soul, so the pain that the dead have to endure isn't any less than other hells. In just a few moments, someone couldn't take it anymore. "Boss, this is too cold. Why would God, he called out. The leader shouted, "Shut up! God is watching us. Do you want God to bestow a harsher punishment on us?" That person didn't say anything else. Everyone silently endured the pain of the frozen hell. Gu Qingshan. Although these people were a bit stupid, the main reason was that they've never seen the hells of Huangquan before. To be able to move a dead soul as they pleased after death, this kind of great power was truly rare. It could be said that other than their god, they've never seen any other entity with such power. Not even Lord-class combatants like Bali and Miao. So it was understandable that these people's thoughts and judgment were the same. But their conversation caused Gu Qingshan to frown. Didn't their god only live for a split second? Could this be a lie? If their god purposefully chose to fake his death and stay hidden, that would be very interesting. What is he planning? Gu Qingshan continued to think. These people seem to have come to the scattered worlds in search of a world tomb. But a world tomb is a place where the old gods hide their belongings, so there's no way to confirm what's inside. No one knows for sure what would appear once a world tomb is opened. Not to mention, there are so many world tombs in the 900 million world layers. Why did they choose a scattered world? How did they find it? No, I have to get to the bottom of this. Gu Qingshan held the Devil King Warden rod and pointed it at the guy who complained that hell was too cold. He activated Soul Dispersion. Soul Dispersion. The Devil King can use the power of the scepter to permanently eliminate any disobedient dead. The souls of those killed will disperse and turn into the scepter's power. A few moments later, the dead man in the crater suddenly felt a sense of fear. He sensed the power of a fundamental law within his soul. This was a destructive power that could completely destroy him. He panicked and instinctively screamed, don't, I've always faithfully collected souls for you. There's a soul storage device in my personal prayer room that contains over 90,000 souls to offer to you. Great God, I beg you, great God. Following that, he uttered a scream of agony that grew louder and louder. The great power that destroyed souls was acting on his body, causing him to experience a punishment worse than hell. This was the Huang Quan Devil King's ultimate punishment, the 18 layers of hell. The life and death of all dead people were at the mercy of the Devil King's will. Very quickly, this dead man's body and soul completely disappeared from the crater. He had completely dissipated and perished, never to be seen again. The others were terrified by the sight. The leader loudly shouted, "Did you see that? He dared to hide over 90,000 souls behind God's back. No wonder God wants to kill him. Yes, he deserves to die. He's an unbeliever. All souls belong to God. He dared to keep them for himself, serves him right." The few of them hurriedly responded loudly. At this point, a resounding voice resounded from far above. "By God's order, I have come to interrogate you. You may speak now." This dignified voice only stated the reason for its arrival, but it carried a sense of extreme sternness and interrogation. Everyone looked up at the sky. A frigid fog covered the sky, obscuring everything. But the dead could sense the power that forced them to submit, the power that ruled over this world. Without the blessings of God, who could obtain such great power? Chapter 690. A Unique World Tomb? Gu Qingshan froze as countless thoughts flashed through her mind. What exactly is unique? How do they know that this world tomb is unique? If what this man said is true, then from the literal meaning of the words, the only thing that can be confirmed is that their God knows that this world tomb is unique. That's strange. Why would their God bypass the 900 million world layers and directly observe this scattered world? There are two possibilities. The first is that their God has been observing this world for a very long time and knows some sort of secret. The other is that their God discovered this place for a certain reason. Which one is it? Gu Qingshan thought for a bit and decided to stay silent. Within the cold clouds in the sky, there was no sound at all, only stifling silence. Sure enough, after waiting for a bit and not getting any response, the leader panicked and hurriedly continued. "We've investigated the fluctuations that our God felt. It was most likely from one of the scattered worlds that didn't follow the rules of the 900 million world layers and completed the fusion on its own." He spoke like he was bragging. "We've confirmed that the fluctuations were caused by the fusion of the worlds. Well done, go on." Gu Qingshan praised him. Being encouraged, the leader continued. "The strangest thing is that that world was a samsara world." "A samsara world?" "That's right, that's unbelievable. A samsara world is supposed to be a mystic zones. No one can enter unless they're invited, but there were also 6 worlds here that formed a closed samsara world, 2 of which had even fused. How could there be a samsara world in a scattered world? You dare to use such a thing to spout nonsense? Gu Shan coldly spoke. The leader hurriedly replied, Sir, it's true, I saw Asuras, Demis, Wraiths, Beast Kings, humans, as well as the forgetting river of Huang Quan. He whispered to the people around him. Quickly prove it for me, they all loudly replied. Sir, he's telling the truth, we also saw those living beings with our own eyes. Gu Shan pondered for a moment, then said hesitantly, All right, I'll believe you for now. Go on. The leader sighed in relief and explained. Sir, the living beings in that world are extremely weak, completely incomparable to the real samsara world. I also find it strange that such a world could exist. That's why we split up and did a detailed investigation of each world. What was the result? Gu Shan asked. We discovered a shocking truth. The world origin and laws of that world were incomplete. Incomplete. Indeed, because the world origin is incomplete, the living beings of those 6 worlds are far weaker than the samsara from the mystic zones. The difference between the two is like the difference between the clouds and the mud. Then why are the 6 worlds incomplete? Gu Shan asked. This subordinate is also very confused. Perhaps this is an experiment created by the gods? Gu Shan remained silent. He knew very well that the samsara he was currently in was actually a fragment of the real samsara world that had collapsed. But if he didn't say it out loud, who would be able to guess this truth? In truth, the samsara world of the mystic zones was also incomplete. But because it was too powerful, and because outsiders couldn't go there, no one knew the truth. Because of that, no one could have imagined that the samsara world of the mystic zones would be destroyed. Gu Shan went through the other party's words again in his mind. He carefully summarized the information he had received. Firstly, within the 900 million world layers, there is a publicly recognized rule for worlds to fuse with other worlds, which isn't allowed without good reason. Secondly, when I fused the human realm and Huang Quan realm together, it created some sort of fluctuation that drew the attention of their god. Thirdly, if all the living beings of the samsara world hadn't appeared in the human realm, these outsiders wouldn't have known that this was a samsara world. After all, this incomplete samsara world was hidden within a scattered world. Due to how fragile and unstable scattered worlds were, no one in the 900 million world layers paid attention to this place. Gu Shan's thoughts slowly became clear. He thought for a bit, then asked, Then, did you manage to complete the mission given to you by God and find that unique world tomb? The leader lowered his head dejectedly. Sir, we couldn't find it, Gu Shan asked. I can see that you're a capable person, why couldn't you find it? The leader replied. Ever since we went to that world, the divine clock no longer sensed that unique fluctuation, nor did it react at all, so we couldn't find the location of the world tomb at all. The divine clock? Gu Shan sharply realized something. You've all died and returned, but where's the divine clock? Did you lose it? He sternly asked. The leader and his subordinates hurriedly knelt down. Sir, we didn't lose the divine clock. We hid it at the northernmost part of that world, on a starship that crashed. A starship? Gu Shan asked. That's right, this starship came from a civilization of the 900 million world layers, a civilization that developed both technology and God's chosen. We don't know why it landed in a scattered world. Did you manage to find anything there? We didn't. The crystallization of a technological civilization requires a lot of complicated verification procedures before we can check it, and we didn't have any of those people in this operation. That's why we killed the guards of the starship, took over the place, and hid the divine clock underneath the ship. The leader smiled. Don't worry, sir, other than us, no one else will know about that location. You promise? I promise. Very well, you've managed to protect your souls. You may slowly receive your punishment here. The men were overjoyed and hurriedly said, "Thank you, sir." Gu Qingshan's figure flickered, about to leave this place. He suddenly thought of something and said, "I have one last question." The leader respectfully replied, "Please ask, sir. Because of your failure, I will have to personally head to that world to investigate the next step, so I want to know, what did the Lord God tell you before you left?" The leader answered without hesitation. The Lord God had decreed that I must be cautious, even if I had to die. I must not reveal this mission to anyone outside of God Institute. Because the fluctuations that the Lord God sensed revealed that this unique world tomb contained a certain possibility, most likely related to At this point, he was cut off. The expressions of the leader and his subordinates all changed. "No. Great God, I didn't reveal it to outsiders." He loudly tried to explain himself. At the same time, his subordinates were already screaming in pain. Gu Qingshan knew that something was wrong, so she immediately descended from the clouds to observe the situation. Only to see that the bodies of the dead were melting like candles in the fire, slowly peeling off. Seeing Gu Qingshan suddenly appear, these people were completely stunned. It was now that they realized the truth of the matter. "That's impossible. Why is it you? It's over, it's all over now," the leader muttered in despair. But there was no turning back. Their bodies had completely disappeared, leaving their souls exposed in the frozen hell. These souls slowly lost their facial features, lost their limbs, and turned into an eerie cluster of purple light. The clusters of purple light quickly gathered together. Very quickly, a human face became clear. It was half male, half female. Its expression was one of hysteria and pain. Gu Qingshan immediately recognized that this was their god. Not only did the purple light gather to form a human face, but it was also quickly forming a body. A deep chill rose from Gu Qingshan's heart. Through his spirit sense, he sensed a threat even more terrifying than death itself. Without hesitation, Gu Qingshan swung the Devil King Warden Rod and activated the Soul Dispersion. This was the Huang Quan Devil King's ultimate technique, capable of directly destroying all souls in hell. In a split second, the eerie monster that was slowly taking shape vanished without a trace. Chapter 691. Gu Qingshan's heart was as cold as the frozen hell itself. That indescribable feeling just now made his entire back break out in a layer of cold sweat, and it was very cold. Fortunately, at the very last moment, he managed to seal off that entity's path to appear. Otherwise, who knows what would have happened? Gu Qingshan stayed for a bit longer before wielding the Devil King Warden Rod and left hell. He crossed the Forgetting River, found the nearest warp point, and returned to the small town. "How was it? Did everything go well?" Bali asked. Gu Qingshan smiled bitterly. "It was fine at first, but then something went wrong." He then explained the entire situation to them. After hearing the last part, everyone felt a sense of lingering fear. "Damn it, what the hell was that thing?" Zhang Yongho asked. "There are too many unexplainable things in the 900 million world layers. There's no need to be too worried," Bali consoled everyone. Seeing that Gu Qingshan was still silent, he asked, "What's the matter? You still don't feel well?" "No," Gu Qingshan slowly replied. "According to what you said, the entire 900 million world layers believed that thing to be dead. But it's still alive and hiding inside God Institute, so it's obviously plotting something," Miao agreed. "That's true, the people of God Institute had gone insane due to the failed experiment, so all the combatants we know are staying far away from them, not wanting to interact with them too much and even sympathizing with them. But if these people aren't lunatics, but rather an organized evil organization with ulterior motives, those combatants would definitely feel differently." Bali was a bit interested and said, If that's the case, then it's definitely worth us doing something about it." He looked at Gu Qingshan and asked, "What do you have in mind?" Gu Qingshan replied, "I want to know if there are any intelligence agencies or news agencies within the 900 million world layers. The Spire Keeper Association is one of the most well-informed organizations. Their Spire Association newspaper is extremely valuable. Every VIP of the 900 million world layers has to pay for it. Tower Society? Gu Qingshan recalled the issue of Bali's recovery. She had also been on the headlines, and many people had gotten to know her. Will they want this information? Gu Qingshan asked. Bali said, of course, they are most interested in all kinds of first-hand information, and the price they offer is also very considerable. Gu Qingshan smiled and said, then it's fine, we'll sell this information to them. On one hand, we'll earn some money, on the other hand, we'll be able to warn the entire 900 million world layers against God Institute. What do you think? That's great. Meow raised her hands and cheered. The Spire Society pays us well, now we don't owe anything and can go on a vacation. Bali also smiled. No one will refuse to make money. Very well, let me tell them. This Bali's reputation in the 900 million world layers is worth their trust, Bali said. Bro, you can show up, but you can't reveal Gu Qingshan's existence. Before he matures, we can't let those people feel threatened by him, Meow reminded him. Don't worry, I know what to do, Bali replied. He took out an old, blank newspaper, cleared his throat, and spoke to the newspaper. I'm Justice Iron Fist Club, Iron Fist Bali, requesting communication. A few moments later, an old voice came from the newspaper. Ah, Bali, congratulations, Queen of Thorns has paid off all of your debts. Ahaha, that's right, you're looking for us. Do you need some kind of travel service? Or do you want to buy some information? No, I have a piece of information to sell to you. Ah? The old voice raised. It's rare for you to have information to sell. Please wait a moment. Very well. A few moments later, lines of text began to appear on the newspaper. Gu Qingshan glanced at it and found that it was all written in the Spire Keeper Association's language. From the looks of it, it was some sort of contract that stipulated that the information must be true and trustworthy, that the information cannot be sold to other organizations, the source of the information, the level of the information, etc. Quill jumped out from the newspaper and landed in front of Bali. Bali took the quill, wrote down the information about God Institute in the middle of the newspaper, then signed his name. Ho! A flame rose from the newspaper. All the words were burnt to ashes. The newspaper returned to being blank. A few dozen seconds later, the old voice came again. In accordance with the law of the contract, your name and information have passed the lie detector test. Such shocking news, it can easily be used as tomorrow's headline. No, we need to organize a team to remove today's headline and replace it with this. Bali smiled. Seems like my information is quite popular, of course. Bali, I didn't think you'd be able to obtain such secret information, even our chairman has noticed it. Then, how much will I get in return? Bali asked. Your information will be personally rated by the chairman. The detailed compensation is currently being calculated and will be sent directly to your personal account. Very well. Then let's do that. If there's any new information, please contact us at any time. No problem. At this point, the voice from the newspaper went completely silent. Bali put the newspaper away and looked at Gu Qingshan. You've earned quite a bit, he said. I still don't know how much, Gu Qingshan replied. Information personally rated by the Spire Keeper Association's chairman has always been invaluable, Meow replied. Gu Qingshan replied. Then consider it the club's income. After all, without you guys, I'd be having a headache dealing with these people. Bali and Meow both nodded, unable to hold back the smile on their faces. The Spire Keeper Association was a well-funded organization, so their compensation had always been generous. Bali and Meow had always been living in debt, so it's been a long time since they received such a large sum of money. Bali thought for a bit and said, From now on, you'll be in charge of the club's finances. This was basically giving Gu Qingshan the money again, while also giving him a certain amount of authority. At first, Bali felt that Gu Qingshan was a promising talent, so he kept him around. But after the Bramble Birds incident and this incident, Gu Qingshan's performance had won Bali's recognition. Gu Qingshan's talents were indeed worthy of recognition. The only downside was that he still needed to improve himself. Other than that, Bali and Miao no longer looked down on Gu Qingshan. Thinking about the amount of money, Miao couldn't help but pat Gu Qingshan's shoulder and smiled. Gu Qingshan, you've done a great job. I'll take you shopping with me next time. I don't like shopping. You'll like it. There are countless big-name equipment stores in the 900 million world layers, far more than you can imagine. That sounds like a good idea. That's a matter for the future. What do we do now? Bali asked Gu Qingshan. When it came to business, Gu Qingshan became cautious. I need to ask something first. Impartial Goddess, are you there? I'm here, sir, Impartial Goddess replied. The North Pole interstellar ship belongs to the Nine Lords? Yes. How much do you know about this interstellar ship? I only know that I was born there. Other than that, I know nothing. Nothing? Correct, because that is the holy land of the Nine Lords. Other than the Guardian, no one else is allowed to enter, including you? Gu Qingshan asked. Including me, Impartial Goddess replied. I remember you saying that before the Guardian died, he gave you freedom. That's right, but after those people killed the Guardian, they've been occupying the North Pole. The satellites and automatons I sent couldn't get through, so even now, I still haven't been able to enter the interstellar ship to check the situation, and now that those people are dead, you can send out the automatons to build a warp point in the North Pole. We'll go there to investigate. Understood, sir. Please wait for 10 minutes, Impartial Goddess replied. Deep in the North Pole's sky, on the satellites in orbit, countless honeycomb-like cabin doors opened by themselves. Several hundred miniature automatons were thrown out from the satellites, ignited in mid-air and quickly flew towards the North Pole. As soon as these automatons landed, they quickly followed their preset procedures to build a warp point. With several hundred automatons moving at once, they quickly finished their work. Chapter 692. The North Pole. Under Impartial Goddess guidance, they arrived at a small cabin at the top of the North Pole. The Nine Lords' protectors were killed here? Gu Qingshan asked. That's right, sir. This is also where they rest, Impartial Goddess answered. Where's the spaceship? The spaceship is located at the North Pole. So big, sir. I can now try to crack the spaceship's password to check the situation inside. Would you like to do so? Hearing that, Bali glanced at Miao. Bro, don't look at me. I can definitely bring everyone inside. Miao crossed her arms. But with this kind of technological spaceship, just going inside won't be enough to find out the secrets inside. Sure enough, technology isn't something I can understand, Bali muttered. Gu Qingshan asked. Impartial Goddess, you were born here? That's right, sir. Seems like the technology here must be very advanced, Zhang Young-ho commented. Impartial Goddess answered. Not only is it advanced, there's also a lot of advanced technology here, but in order to keep a low profile, afraid of attracting the attention of outer space, the protectors sealed all of this technology and never used it. Hearing that, Bali sighed emotionally. In this current era, the apocalypse is coming, countless races are fighting for supremacy, every powerful civilization is desperately trying to increase their strength, fighting for resources and treasures. While those cowardly turtles are slowly being destroyed, Miao agreed. That's right, perhaps this person wanted to preserve the spark of civilization, but too conservative of a strategy will only cause civilization to stagnate and fall behind. Unable to keep up with the times, Gu Qingshan spoke. Impartial Goddess, I hope that this world will be able to obtain even more advanced technology, because the world is too difficult. No one knows what will happen in the future. Oh, sir, do you want to obtain all of the technology? Impartial Goddess asked. Gu Qingshan replied. That's right, I'll leave this spaceship to you. Try to obtain all of the secrets inside. Don't worry, sir. I will definitely do my best to complete this mission, Impartial Goddess replied. In the sky, an intense rumbling sound gradually came. The S.W. Divine Temple had already arrived at the North Pole, slowly descending from the sky. This interstellar fortress contains impartial goddess core. It seemed that she really had to go all out. I will need a bit of time to search for the control room and main entrance of the ship. Please rest for a bit, impartial goddess replied. Following her words, many mechs flew out from the interstellar fortress. These mobile mechs flew along different routes and began to explore the structure of the spaceship within the Arctic Circle. At this moment, Meow seemed to sense something. She asked the void of space, "What is it?" From the void of space, a voice sounded. "Today's newspaper has been freshly published. Mr. Bali's report has occupied the headlines. We will provide Mr. Bali with 10 copies of the newspaper free of charge." "Fine. Give me the newspaper. As for our payment," Meow said, "I was just about to ask what kind of currency you are willing to use for the settlement." "The currency issued by the tower will do. After all, the tower's currency can be used in many advanced worlds." "All right, we'll get ready right away." After saying that, the voice disappeared. A stack of newspapers fell from the void of space and was caught by Meow. "Let's see what they have to say," Meow smiled and said. She casually waved her hand and a newspaper flew in front of everyone. Everyone took the newspaper and read it. "Very well, they've also contacted a lot of important figures about this and formed a team to head to God Institute. Seems like they're preparing to do a series of reports," Bali said as he read the newspaper. "To be able to form such a large team to deal with God Institute, the Spire Keeper Association is quite powerful," Gu Qing Shan commented. Meow smiled. "It's actually quite a coincidence. The Bramble Bird War had just ended. So many people who don't normally see each other are gathered here to celebrate. When they heard about God Institute, they were all very curious." Coincidentally, the Spire's team formation had already begun. The Spire has always been generous with their rewards, so they quickly formed such a powerful scouting team. "At first, I was worried that God Institute would directly target Bali, but it seems like they can't even take care of themselves," Gu Qing Shan commented. While they were talking, a series of loud noises could be heard from outside. Gu Qing Shan came out of the room to take a look. On the icy ground not too far away, a large gate had been opened. Various types of robots were busy working around the metal gate. Occasionally, a few robots would accidentally touch the mechanical structure near the gate, only to be blasted to smithereens by the powerful firepower. Impartial goddess voice came. "Well, sir, I will continue to decipher the ship's defensive measures as well as search for the ship's data center." Gu Qing Shan thought for a bit and said, "If that's the case, there's no point for us to go down. You can continue with this task." "Understood, sir. If there's an emergency, you can call us at any time." "Understood." Gu Qing Shan then returned to the room. He closed the door to block out the snowstorm outside, then lit up the fireplace. The room instantly warmed up. Everyone heard what he said just now. Jang Young-ho asked, "What do we do now?" "There's no point in just waiting. Let's have a drink and chat for a bit." He tapped his inventory bag and took out a few bottles of liquor from his collection, as well as some spirit fruits and spirit cooking. Everyone pulled out chairs and sat around the fireplace. Jang Young-ho looked at the liquor on the table and asked, "These are all liquor from another world, aren't they?" They're liquor that cultivators drink," Gu Qing Shan replied. Jang Young-ho stood up. "Then I'll have to go back and get some of this world's finest liquor for you two to taste." "That's a good idea. Use the warp device to go back and bring Liao Xing here." "Bring him here?" Jang Young-ho hesitantly asked. His gaze fell on Meow, then signaled to Gu Qing Shan with his eyes. Meow is a beautiful woman with an alluring body, a pair of cute cat ears on her head, exuding both pure and flirtatious charm. If that old pervert Liao Xing comes and does something inappropriate to provoke Meow, it won't be a good look. Gu Qing Shan immediately understood what Jang Young-ho meant. He tapped his forehead. "Then there's no need for him to come here, just let him help Impartial Goddess break through the ship's defense system," Yi Fei Li agreed. That's a good idea. If Liao Xing sees a ship from another planet, he'll probably be so excited that he won't be able to sleep for 3 days straight. He stood up and followed Zhang Yongho outside. Why are you coming as well? Gu Qingshan asked. It's been a while since I've gone back. My wife is probably worried about me, so I'll go say hi first before coming back, Yi Feili said. The two of them opened the door and left. Only Bali, Miao and Gu Qingshan were left in the room. That shy young man called Yi Feili, what's his relationship with you? Miao casually asked. He's a follower of mine, Gu Qingshan answered. Bali and Miao exchanged glances. Bali hesitated. He seems to be an early-stage world destroyer. World destroyer? Gu Qingshan was a bit confused. Miao answered. That's right, he'll grow very quickly, becoming an ultimate world destroyer can rival an old god, although such a world destroyer has only appeared once in history. Can you tell me more about him? Bali asked further. If it was someone else asking this, Gu Qingshan would have to think about it. But both Bali and Miao were decent people, and Bali's tone of voice also carried a hint of concern and worry. Without hesitation, Gu Qingshan told them about Yi Feili's situation. Even after losing his human identity, he's still able to think about his mother. I'm quite impressed with him, Bali praised. He still wants to return to his wife to report that he's safe. Who would have thought that a world destroyer with a murderous nature would also be afraid of his wife? This is the first time I've seen such a thing, Miao commented. She took out a notebook and began to record Yi Feili's situation. What's a world destroyer? Gu Qingshan asked. Bali explained. A high-level life form that loses its human identity and uses any other life form as its motivation to evolve. These high-level life forms usually lose their rationality and turn into monsters that only know how to kill. There used to be a lot of such life forms in our world, Gu Qingshan commented. You're talking about infected humans, right? When they kill, the infected can only obtain a tiny bit of life force. They can't even be considered high-level life forms. But this friend of yours is different. I can sense that he's already reached the most basic level of a world destroyer and can already use soul points, Miao continued to write without looking up. A high-level life form like him has a lot of research value. Many large organizations have offered a bounty to obtain a specimen of a world destroyer. Yi Feili still has rationality and emotions. He's not a monster that only knows how to kill, Gu Qingshan emphasized. Bali nodded. I've been observing him. The truth is, as you said, this is a very rare occurrence. So what? Miao continued. His existence is even more precious than a normal world destroyer. Think about it, without losing his rationality and emotions, he only needs to kill to obtain the essence of the other party's power to evolve his own body and soul. How powerful would that be? Furthermore, he doesn't need the Demon King order, nor does he need to make a deal with anyone. He can become stronger by himself. This is the simplest and most direct way to become stronger, Bali continued. Countless organizations will offer an astronomical amount of money. They will crazily desire to obtain Yi Feili and use his body and soul for research. Gu Qingshan looked at Bali, then at Miao. Both of their expressions were calm. Aside from a bit of worry, there wasn't a single ripple of emotion. With their strength, they could easily capture Yi Feili and exchange him for a huge sum of money. They would be able to completely escape from their impoverished state. But after confirming Yi Feili's condition, the siblings were only worried about Yi Feili. They didn't have any other thoughts. Gu Qingshan sighed. He suddenly understood why Bali and Miao were so poor. Then, what do I need to do to solve the problem Yi Feili is facing? Gu Qingshan asked. Miao looked at Gu Qingshan, then at Bali. Brother, what do you think? She asked with a hint of meaning. Bali thought about it for a bit, then said, This brat is a bit shy, but he's done a good job. I think it's possible, Miao agreed. That's right, this is a world destroyer we're talking about. How rare. If we leave him in the club, not only will we be assured, others won't easily touch him either. Chapter 693. The North Pole. Howling wind and snow. On top of a high mountain, Bali, Meow, and Gu Shan were sitting in the small wooden house. The fire in the fireplace was lit, so they sat around it. The three of them drank while discussing Yi Fei Li's situation. What will happen when he evolves to the next stage? Gu Shan asked. Meow replied. Every world destroyer evolves in a different direction. It depends on his own talent and nature, as well as the type of life form he absorbs. Alright, seems like we'll have to hurry and give him more chances to grow, Gu Shan sighed. Why do I feel like you're a bit impatient? Bali asked. Gu Shan nodded. That's right, this world needs someone to protect it, but I still have a lot of things to do. I'm worried about my sect. He stared at the war god Yua, only to see a few lines of glowing text hovering there. You haven't used the war god system's power to return to your homeworld. The system has accumulated enough power. You can now return to the cultivation world. When you need to, please contact the system to teleport. Gu Shan couldn't help but shake her head. After Qing Ro and Wan Er were teleported back, I haven't heard from them since. It's been so long since I've seen Shifu, Xiao Lu, and Xiao Xiao, I really don't know how they're doing. Unfortunately, there are still a lot of things to do in my homeworld, so I can't just leave right now. Sect? Meow curiously asked. Yes, I'm a cultivator, so of course I have my own inheritance and foundation. Gu Shan then told them about the cultivation world and Shen Wu world. Bali and Meow were both surprised. Don't be impatient, there are a lot of things that can't be rushed, Bali consoled her. He clinked glasses with Gu Shan. The two of them drank it all in one gulp. Gu Shan said, in short, I hope we can quickly finish this matter here, so that I can go back and take a look at the situation. Bali smiled and asked, I didn't think that you would be as worried as I am about the situation of the various worlds. How do you feel about saving the world? Gu Shan sighed. Saving the world is no different from delivering food. What do you mean? It's very difficult, and it won't be considered completed until the very last moment. When Bali heard this, he burst out laughing. That's worth another drink. He filled Gu Shan's and his own cup and personally handed it to Gu Shan. The two of them drained their cups in one go. Gu Shan recalled something and couldn't help but ask. I heard that the 900 million world layers doesn't allow people to casually fuse worlds together, is that true? Yes, because by seizing the source energies of other worlds and fusing with them, the living beings of this world will become stronger. This is something that is extremely tempting. But if everyone tried to do this, the entire 900 million world layers would be plunged into a storm of blood and death. That's why the strongest combatants of the 900 million world layers have made a pact. Other than a few limited quotas, no one is allowed to casually fuse worlds together. Violators will be severely punished, Gu Shan replied. I've already fused 2 worlds together. You're fine, why not? Bali explained. You're a member of the club, so our club has a quota for fusion that we haven't used yet. Gu Shan was surprised. Bali was a Lord-class combatant, and so was Meow. They must have some sort of special authority and authority. How many worlds have you fused together? Gu Shan asked. My bro was wounded before, so he couldn't go out and do this, not to mention the fact that we're already having trouble feeding ourselves. Where would we have the time to find a few worlds to fuse together for fun? Meow smiled bitterly. Fusing worlds together can't heal? It can increase the upper limit of one's strength and make living beings stronger, but it can't heal, Bali continued. However, fusing worlds together is a good thing. Your girlfriend's master had fused several gods' chosen worlds together to form the vast Blood Sea world, Meow continued. Before the people of God Institute went insane, they had also fused many mystical worlds together. Mystical? Gu Shan muttered. He recalled the mystic-type skills of the Holy Church. Each one of them was incredibly powerful. Who would have thought that some of the worlds would develop in the direction of mystical? At this point, Meow's attitude also became serious. She reminded him. Mystical worlds are very strange and unpredictable, so under normal circumstances, no one is willing to provoke them. You should also keep this in mind, do not carelessly provoke a mystical character, Bali added. Once you start fighting against a mystical enemy, you can't be sure what will happen during the battle. It's a huge headache. Gu Qingshan nodded in agreement. He then asked, Then, have you never tried to fuse worlds together? Miao explained. My brother and I were born in the same magic-type world. We originally wanted to fuse a few magic-type worlds into our own world to increase our individual strength. Unfortunately, we never had the time and effort to do so. If that's the case, I'd like to try fusing the samsara into a single world, Gu Qingshan commented. At this point, the three of them went silent. They all realized a certain thing. Gu Qingshan was the first to ask. Is there anyone in the 900 million world layers like me who has fused a samsara world? No, Bali answered right away. There is only a single samsara world in the 900 million world layers. Hidden in the mystic zones, it's already very difficult to enter, let alone fuse it together, Miao added. The samsara world is a closed-off cycle of worlds. What would happen if the samsara worlds were fused together? Gu Qingshan silently pondered. That eerie deity only noticed the fluctuations of the world tomb when the human realm and Huang Quan realm were fused. If something like that happened when the worlds were being fused together, then, if I continue to fuse the samsara world, would I be able to find more clues? I might even be able to find the exact location of the world tomb, or even how to open it. If that's the case, then the samsara world fusion is a must. Miao went silent for a bit, then asked, If what you're saying is true, the world where your sect is located is also a samsara world? That's right, Gu Qingshan replied. Miao commented, Bro, that's unbelievable. How could there be so many hidden samsara worlds outside of the 900 million world layers? Bali replied. I'm also very confused. Gu Qingshan didn't say anything. The samsara world was a measure left behind by the old gods, but it was destroyed and scattered among the scattered worlds. The war god system had repeatedly told him that this shocking truth couldn't be told to anyone else, otherwise a series of unpredictable consequences would occur. Gu Qingshan still had a sense of propriety, so she remained silent. Miao continued. I'm quite curious, I wonder what would happen after the samsara world fuses. Gu Qingshan thought for a bit, then said, Since you're both here, how about we do this right now, are you sure? Bali asked. I'm sure. Gu Qingshan stood up and continued. Right now, the entire 900 million world layers is undergoing a change, and you've also discovered the secret of God Institute here. If even that eerie god from God Institute noticed this place, I'm guessing that this world will one day no longer be able to remain hidden and will be discovered by more and more people. Because of that, this world needs to quickly become stronger, and the living beings of this world also need to quickly become stronger. Bali stood up. Very well, then we'll work together and fuse the samsara world together. Miao also stood up and asked, That's a very interesting matter, shall we go now? Let's go, Gu Qingshan replied. At this point, the door of the small house was opened. Yi Feili walked in through the snowstorm. Bali, Miao and Gu Qingshan exchanged glances. Gu Qingshan, what do you think? Miao asked. Of course I don't, this is a good thing for him, Gu Qingshan immediately replied. Then we'll first settle his matter before we fuse the samsara world? Bali asked. All right, Gu Qingshan agreed. The three of them sat back down. Their gazes fell onto Yi Feili. As Yi Feili listened to their conversation and saw their expressions, she couldn't help but feel confused. He explained to Gu Qingshan. Impartial Goddess seems to have something that she wants Zhang Yongho to personally go, so Zhang Yongho accompanied Liao Xing to Impartial Goddess. Gu Qingshan said, All right, let's ignore them for now. Feili, there's something very important I need to tell you, what is it? Yi Feili asked. I'll tell you, Miao said. She looked at Yi Feili and spoke with a serious expression. Do you want to quickly become stronger? Yi Fei Li looked at Gu Qingshan. Answer me seriously, Gu Qingshan said. Yi Fei Li replied. Even in my dreams I've always wanted to become stronger, Miao introduced. We and Gu Qingshan are like-minded companions, and we've even formed a club. Are you willing to join our club? Gu Qingshan is in this club? Yes, then of course I'm willing, Yi Fei Li answered without hesitation. You answered so quickly? Aren't you going to think about it? There's nothing to think about. I trust in Gu Qingshan's decision and choice. If he's already joining, then I'm also willing to join. Bali and Miao both laughed. Very well, now I'll explain to you about the club, as well as the structure of the infinite worlds, Miao said. She then told him about the Justice Iron Fist Club, as well as the concept and division of the 900 million world layers. Yi Fei Li held his breath, unable to say anything for a while. He wasn't an idiot, so he quickly understood the status of the Justice Iron Fist Club within the 900 million world layers. With such an opportunity right in front of him, Yi Fei Li was a bit confused. Not to mention the concept of the 900 million world layers. It's a concept that can completely overturn a person's common sense. When Gu Qingshan first heard about it, she was also quite shocked. The three of them silently waited for a while for Yi Fei Li to slowly digest this knowledge. Bali finally said, How about it? If there are no other questions, you're now a member of our Justice Iron Fist Club. Yi Fei Li regained his senses and said, I only have one question, Bali asked. Ah? What else do you have? Chapter 694. The Mountaintop Cabin. Bali didn't think it would be something like this, so he was a bit surprised. Seeing how Yi Fei Li was waiting for an answer, Miao couldn't help but chuckle. Of course that's no problem, you're more than welcome, she said. Bali nodded and also chuckled. At a time like this young man was still thinking about his wife, how cute and sincere. Such a person would be a good fit to be a member of the club. Then it's settled? Gu Qingshan asked. No problem, Bali answered. They settled the matter of Yi Fei Li on the spot. From this moment onwards, Yi Fei Li officially became a member of the Justice Iron Fist Club. Then, what can I do in the club? Yi Fei Li curiously asked. Do what? This question stumped the three of them. Besides fighting and looking for food, the club doesn't seem to have anything else to do. Gu Qingshan silently thought. What he didn't know was that Bali and Miao were also thinking the same thing. Bali cleared his throat and solemnly asked, What are you good at? Gaming, my ranking in the world is very high, Yi Fei Li proudly answered. Gaming? World ranking? Miao was confused. Gu Qingshan tried to save her. That doesn't count, Fei Li, tell me something else. Yi Fei Li scowled and thought for a while, then finally answered. I can always stay at home, as long as there's nothing to do. I can even stay at home for a few years. Gu Qingshan. He completely gave up on trying to save Yi Fei Li. Miao happily clapped her hands. That's a good thing. When we're not here, there's finally someone to take care of the super-dimensional passage for me. Haven't you always been in charge of the super-dimensional passage? Gu Qingshan asked. I've been stuck in the club for almost 1,000 years. I want to go on vacation. I want to go shopping. I want to play. Miao shouted. Bali nodded in agreement. I haven't been to a bar or casino in a long time, he lamented. The two of them looked at Yi Fei Li and started to criticize her. Unfortunately, he's still too weak, and his knowledge of the 900 million world layers is still blank. He needs a bit more time to grow. That's right, after we fuse with the 6 paths worlds, we will bring him out to slaughter everyone and quickly evolve to the next stage. At this time, the optical computer in Gu Qingshan's pocket lit up. Your Excellency, I have something to report. Speak. The Wraith Realm's Frost Flame Wraith King is leading his subordinates to quickly plunder human populations and convert humans into wraiths. On the screen, a scene appeared. The Frost Flame Wraith King was giving out commands in the Wraith City. The humans that the wraiths had plundered were all gathered and herded to a plaza, preparing to complete a large-scale conversion ritual. Gu Qingshan looked at the screen and asked, "Have they been constantly destroying the human realm?" "That's right, Your Excellency. The wraith's destruction to the human realm is the greatest. Those who don't obey them are killed and eaten. Only humans who submit are allowed to live and undergo the wraith conversion ritual," Impartial Goddess replied. Gu Qingshan's eyebrows slowly scrunched up. Killing intent began to rise from his body. "Seems like I can take Yi Fei Li out to slaughter everyone right now," he muttered. Miao replied, "That's easy, just give me the coordinates of that place." Impartial Goddess gave him the coordinates. "Let's go." Miao clapped her hands. Instantly, Bali, Miao, Gu Qingshan, and Yi Fei Li disappeared without a trace. The Wraith City. The Frost Flame Wraith King was quickly preparing for the large-scale conversion ritual. The strength of those people was too terrifying, even from afar. It already felt like it couldn't resist them. The Frost Flame Wraith King had realized that it couldn't stay in this world any longer. After this large-scale conversion is complete, it intends to return to the Wraith realm and won't be able to return for a while. "Very well, now that everything is ready, begin the conversion ritual," the Frost Flame Wraith King ordered. Not a single one of its subordinates answered him. The entire Wraith City was completely silent. All the wraiths were frozen in place, unable to move even after using all their strength. The space around them had been completely solidified, not even leaving enough space for them to open their mouth. Sensing the danger, the Frost Flame Wraith King immediately tried to activate a teleportation spell. But it found that it couldn't move either. A second later, a screen of light appeared. The entire Justice Iron Fist Club appeared on the plaza. "Impartial Goddess, send the mechs and transport ships here to transport the rescued people back," Gu Qingshan ordered. "Understood, Your Excellency." Gu Qingshan then turned to Miao and asked, "Are you sure these wraiths won't move?" "Of course they won't move. I'll leave this place to you." "That formation is quite interesting. I'll go take a look first," Miao replied. She walked towards a large-scale warp formation. It was a spatial formation to return to the Wraith realm. "Yi Fei Li, you go," Gu Qingshan said. Yi Fei Li excitedly licked her lips, saying, "They're all quite strong, they'll be very useful for my evolution. Can I really kill them as I please?" "Kill them all," Gu Qingshan ordered. Yi Fei Li uttered a shrill cry, turning into a bloody streak of light as she leapt towards the Frost Flame Wraith King. The Forgetting River Soul separating hook gave off a faint yellow glow as it lightly hooked the Frost Flame Wraith King's neck. His head was separated. The Frost Flame Wraith King, the leader of the entire Wraith realm, the one who led the attack on the human realm, died without being able to resist. Boom! The red glow on Yi Fei Li's body abruptly intensified. He had obtained all of the Frost Flame Wraith King's power. How refreshing! Is this the joy of killing monsters above my level? Yi Fei Li uttered a satisfied moan. The hook flashed. Another powerful wraith was decapitated. The red glow on Yi Fei Li's body became even more intense. Bali crossed his arms, standing on one side, and asked Gu Qingshan, "What do you mean by killing monsters above my level?" "It's a gaming term, you don't need to pay attention to him," Gu Qingshan replied. "What do you plan to do next?" Bali asked again. "Since I've already killed my way here, I'll head straight to the Wraith realm and fuse that world into the human realm as well, and then... Heaven realm, Beast King realm, Azura realm, all of them are the same, one at a time." Gu Qingshan recalled something and said, "I can treat the Azura realm a bit more gently, they have a bit of a relationship with me." "That's easy," Bali nodded. Miao also returned and said, "I've fully understood the Wraith realm's warp formation. There are a few traps that only allow Wraith to pass through, but we don't need to use the warp formation. I've already obtained the location of that world. I can directly send you there. Then let's wait for Yi Fei Li," Gu Qingshan said. The three of them looked back. A few dozen seconds later, Yi Fei Li had killed every Wraith in the city. He knelt on the ground, roaring in pain. Strands of blood-red light manifested into threads that wrapped around Yi Fei Li like a silkworm's silk. Yi Fei Li's roars and moans were slowly cut off by the bloody veil. The evolution is about to begin. Bali watched this and commented. What will happen to him? Gu Qingshan asked. I also want to know, but no one can predict this. We'll have to wait until the very end to find out, Bali said with interest. Miao also smiled. This time, not only did we get to see the scenery of the Samsara world, but we also got to witness a world destroyer's evolution process. This trip wasn't in vain, Gu Qingshan silently thought. After Yi Fei Li evolves, I'll be able to confirm my conjecture. Following the steps, fusing the Samsara world into a single world, then searching for the secrets of the world tomb. This is a complicated and tedious process. Fortunately, with Bali and Miao here, they've been spared from large-scale battles. Gu Qingshan sighed. I really want to know what the old gods hid in the Samsara world. While she was thinking, she suddenly sensed something from deep within her mind. Gu Qingshan tapped her inventory bag and took something out. The Tianma bell. The bell that carried a chilling air was constantly ringing. The clear ringing of the bell continued. The Tianma bell was ringing towards the boundless world outside. Is she coming here? Gu Qingshan doubtfully muttered to himself. But very quickly, he understood this matter. I promised to give her a world, but I still haven't fulfilled my promise after so long. She's probably here to collect a debt. But I've also owed her for a long time. It's about time I pay her back. A few moments later, the void of space suddenly trembled. It's fine, she's one of us, Gu Qingshan told Bali and Miao. As he spoke, a beautiful girl dressed in black descended from the sky. She landed in front of Gu Qingshan without saying a single word. Bali and Miao looked at the girl with strange expressions. They could sense the power of the laws of heaven and earth gathering around the black-clothed girl. It was a form of tacit approval, love, help, and welcome. The world was welcoming her. Little sister, could this be the Samsara world's companion Tianma? Bali sent his voice and asked. It seems so, how unbelievable, this kind of life form is truly rare, Miao exclaimed in shock. Gu Qingshan took out a crystal ball. This was the world that Lola gave him. It used to belong to Triste, but now it was in Gu Qingshan's hands. This is what I owe you, I'll pay you back now. Gu Qingshan gave the crystal ball to her. Li Yang received the crystal ball and seriously looked at it. The world left behind by the old god. This was an extremely valuable world. There might be a lot of secrets that could be explored. Gu Qingshan sincerely replied, Thank you for your help before, I hope that we'll be able to work together even more in the future. Hearing that, Li Yang smiled softly. It was now that she opened her lips and said, I'm not here to collect a debt, then. Can't I come to you for no reason? Of course you can, very well, I actually have something to tell you. Gu Qingshan was speechless. He maintained his sincere attitude and continued to ask, What exactly is it that required you to personally come here? Li Yang replied, The situation in Shen Wu world is very tense right now, a war between the infinite worlds could break out at any moment, so I felt like I had to inform you. Gu Qingshan's heart sank and doubtfully asked, War? Why would there be a war? Hearing Gu Qingshan's question, Li Yang couldn't help but recall that event. Even now, she was still filled with shock and admiration. That's because your master did something earth-shattering. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.